Sam O'Reilly with a Fight Talk podcast. It's been a while since we've been here, man. There's been lot's been going on. 3 weeks since we've been here. It's been fucking hell. It's been a bit stressful, a bit emotional, but we're back. Craig's with me.
Oh yeah, we are back. Yeah, it's been good. I mean, obviously it's been a few weeks since we did the podcast. Since then, a lot of stuff has happened. Kevin Spacey has been sexually abusing people.
I don't know if he's still doing it.
I don't know if he's allowed to do it now. It's in the public eye.
Yeah.
It's all been kicking off. AJ's been going fucking mental on Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to cover, but it's nice to be back.
Yeah, we're joined today by a real prospect, someone that you're not going to know a lot more about very soon. Sniper the boss, Lerrone Richards is with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Always, mate. Pleasure to have you. Listen, thank you both, because I know you both had fucking nightmare journeys. A couple of hours each way, so I appreciate you both coming down. But yeah, we've got a lot to get through, man. That card last night is where we're going to start. I think it was called, was it Frampton Reborn?
Frampton Reborn, yeah.
Non-world title fight, headlined it when there was a couple of world title fights on it. I think it just shows how much Carl Frampton is respected and loved. Belfast go crazy for that guy, man. So yeah, let's start on the card. What's the first fight that was worth talking about, Craig?
I want to throw it out and say the only fights that I seen on the card were I seen a little bit of Paddy Barnes, I seen all of Jamie Conlon, and I seen all of Frampton. So anything before that I didn't really catch. I seen the Zolana Tete knockout. The first couple of times I watched it, I missed it because I blinked. It was quick, man. It's quick. I think that was probably the first fight of note on the card. Tete looks like a monster. He's a monster.
Mate, what do you think of Tete? Did you see it, Lerrone?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, he didn't show much really because obviously
he threw one punch.
But he's a quality operator. Very underrated, I believe, and I can't wait to see that unification with Ryan Burnett.
I think three questions we've had in about Tete, and they're all very similar. First of all, who the fuck wants to fight him? Because he's very underrated. He's avoided. Yeah. It's a fight that I guess is very high risk and not as much reward because not that many people know about Tete in this country. I think it's fair to say. But him and Burnett is a good fight.
It is. How
do you think that would play out?
It's a hard fight because I rate Ryan Burnett a lot. He comes down the gym sometimes for some sparring. And I think he's a quality operator. And what I like about Ryan Burnett is that he's willing to take any challenge. So I think it'll be a good fight, a competitive fight. But I'll probably edge Burnett on that one.
I said the opposite, didn't I?
Earlier you said it. You said I think Tete. What was you didn't use Merc. You're not really London enough to use Merc just yet.
Doesn't really work in
my
accent.
No, just yet.
Hey, fucking Malcolm. No, it doesn't really work. I think Tete would beat Burnett. And the reason I think that is when you look at who he's fought and who he's looked good against, my kind of measuring stick for that is when he fought Paul Butler and he decimated Paul Butler with that crazy uppercut, wasn't it? It was mad. Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at Burnett's biggest victory was against Zakianov, and it was a hell of a performance, but it was a kind of messy, which I guess it was always going to be a messy
he dominated
fight, right?
Haskins, who was the champion at the time. Or you're not?
Listen, Haskins wouldn't have went 5 rounds with Tete for me.
Yeah.
And I think Haskins would have been beaten off Butler. So if I'm tallying it all up,
boxing maths that you tend to do, don't you?
Yeah, like fucking Rain Man over here. I think Tete beats Burnett, but it's a hell of a fight. I think the only thing for me that's a bit sad is that he was on in a kind of empty arena because he was on very early. And when you talk about a show that's got 2 world title fights, you don't imagine that one of those world title fights comes before an IBF European, a Paddy Barnes WBO European. That's no disrespect to John O'Carroll or Paddy Barnes, but if that's a world title fight, I'm a bit miffed as to why it was on so early. That's the only thing.
Yeah, no.
But I thought it was a cracking right hook, very very talented, and I look forward to seeing more. Hopefully in big fights.
Yeah, definitely, because it was in Belfast as well, obviously. So hopefully you get a bit more knowledge of him for the guys that are there to see Burnett in the future. Do you know what I mean? I personally see it happening on a Matchroom show. Yeah. Just because I imagine it. I get a bit of stick on the podcast because I kind of discount Frank a bit more than I should when it comes to winning purse bids. Mm-hmm. And especially now he's got a BT platform behind him, it's not a foregone conclusion that he'd win the purse bid for that fight, I guess. But then Eddie may throw up a bigger offer first, and I've also seen Frank in the past say, "I'll pay for Tete." He's gone that far. So listen, it's a good fight to be made. We want to see these big fights like that. You want to see Burnett tested. You know, he's now unified champ. He's setting the world alight, I guess. Belfast is becoming a hub for him, but Tete could be a massive stumbling block for him.
I think you have to look at how much are they investing in Burnett and how much have BT or Frank Warren got to lose in Tete. What they have to lose in Tete is they don't have to lose a massive viewership, they don't have to lose a massive fan base, and they probably don't have to lose a lot of money. Whereas Matchroom, on the other hand, everything that I just mentioned there is the polar opposite. So they've got a massive fan base, they throw massive money behind it, and he probably attracts a lot of viewers. So it's interesting, and I think for that reason it probably would be on a Matchroom card.
Burnett headlines Belfast for Matchroom. Tete doesn't make BT Sports in Belfast for Warren. I guess that's some indication of, you know, the levels they're at and money they bring into the promoter. I don't know, but it's a good fight.
It's a hell of a shot last night. A hell of a shot.
Beautiful right hook. 11 seconds was the official time, which is the fastest world title victory. Is that correct?
Fastest world title knockout,
First,
I believe.
Fucking hell.
And the shot was on 6 or 7 seconds. The shot wasn't on 11 seconds, so it was even quicker than that. So very, very impressive. But how many people got to see it is my question.
Yeah, true. Lerrone, did you watch the full card?
Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So who was after that? We had was it John O'Carroll next or Paddy Barnes?
It was John O'Carroll.
Carroll.
Yeah.
What about that fight? Talk us through that. I don't think I saw that. I was flicking at one point. I think I caught the end of it, and then Barnes was where I watched the full card.
Yeah, you can tell. Jono, he had the intentions of stopping the guy. He was very aggressive from round one. I think a little bit too aggressive at the beginning, and when he settled down, I think it was round three. Started getting his boxing together and then got the guy out of there.
There's a fight that is it Geraghty, isn't it?
Declan
Geraghty, and they've got some. They don't like each other one bit.
I watched an interview the other day, and you can see he doesn't like him at all, and he wants to fight next year. So can't wait for that.
And that's little
they
rivalries.
were supposed to fight, right? They were supposed to fight, and then somebody pulled out. Or I really like John O'Carroll, and the thing that I like the most about him is his fucking eyebrows, man. He's got the strongest eyebrows in the Frank Warren stable. But I liked him. I remember when he fought in Prize Fighter, and he swaggered out, and no one really knew who he was, and he swaggered out in the first fight as though he knew he was going to win the whole tournament. And I like that. I like that confidence. He's silky. He's quite skillful. He's very, very confident in his own ability. He's fought overseas in Germany on the Tyson Fury undercard, I think, or some card overseas. I like the way he conducts himself, and he seems as though he's got ability. And I thought he looked. I've seen a little bit of last night's fight. I thought he looked good. I think he's one of those guys that when he's in top fights and when he's fighting better opposition, I think he fights better. So in the prize fight, he looked fantastic because it was do or die for 3 rounds. You know, he's fighting guys and he's on TV and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes, but obviously part of that massive Belfast Northern Irish following as well. Yeah, no, it's a big fight to be made. The thing is, you've got obviously now Frampton is going to be what brings the Belfast fans in for Frank. So you've got the Belfast fans are going to be very much split between Burnett, who's the new star, and Frampton, who has been there, done it, and remains to be seen whether he can still do it at a high level. There's question marks that we're going to be addressing, and a lot of the questions are about Frampton and his performance. But yeah, I think they get a nice little hub there now, and the Irish fans are crazy. No one supports their guys like the Irish fans. Ask Conor McGregor, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I went to watch the Burnett and the
Zakionov.
No, the other one.
Haskins
fight. Oh, the atmosphere was crazy. It was mad. I've never seen anything like it. But that's what I'm saying. When we go back to sort of like the Tete sort of fight, if that happens, it's going to be in Belfast.
Yeah.
And you know when you got all that crowd behind you, pushing you, it gives you an extra edge. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I sort of was edging Burnett to win the fight. Just going back on it anyway.
Yeah.
One of the things that we were asked before we went on here was from UK Boxing Fan 6. Shout out UK Boxing Fan 6. Couple of great questions as always. And what he said was, thoughts on the production of last night's card. For me, it felt like an Eddie Hearn Frank Warren card. He felt like the quality gap had shortened between both guys. Thought it was a good card with 4 relevant Northern Irish fighters. Great 50-50 fights. No Olympians stealing time on the card. and low-key title defences kept on the sister
Mate,
station.
he's using his 280 characters and he ain't fucking about.
Jesus Christ, mate. I'm still only on 140.
Oh yeah, you can't be.
No, I'm on 140.
No one is, mate.
They've tamed me. They fucking
They
kept
can't tame you.
They've kept me on a leash.
There's a lot of questions in there.
Great card, 10 out of 10 he said. So maybe just address the Eddie Hearn Frank Warren difference in quality, and then the 10 out of 10 rating I think is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, I think Frank probably now at this stage he's desperate to make the big fights where they are more 50-50s. You don't see that many 50-50s on Eddie Hearn cards, and I think that's the truth of it. We seem to be shocked when you see an Eddie Hearn 50-50 fight. You're like, fucking hell, look at that. Do you know what I mean? We all sit up and take notice, whereas I feel like that's one thing Frank is doing well. I honestly believe, alright, take Dubois and AJ Carter out of it, but I feel like he wants to make 50-50 fights more, and that might be because it needs to be different from Eddie Hearn. Do you know what I mean?
Lerrone's the man to answer this question. As a member of the Frank Warren stable.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Frank Warren does put 50-50 fights on, but it's like it's difficult. It's different because, like, you see, when it comes to sort of the champions, say the ones that Eddie Hearn's got, you're not gonna just put his champions in with like hard fights. Or, do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
It has to make business sense.
It has to make business sense, and whereas Warren doesn't have as much world champions, it's a little bit different. He has to make them sort of sacrifices,
Yeah,
in order to bring the public in.
I think that's a good point. I think what Lerrone said is spot on, because Frank is chasing world titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's chasing world champions. Eddie doesn't have to do that. He's got 6 or 7 world champions. I haven't checked that out, but 6 or 7 world champions that he can base these defences on and base these voluntaries on, and that's all well and good, and he'll always get an audience. He'll always sell tickets with some of these guys, whereas Frank has got, who's he got? Billy Joe, he's got Teddy Flanagan, who else? Tete?
well, Flanagan's not even a world champ anymore, is he?
Well, he's moved up, right?
Yeah.
So he's got Billy Joe and he's got
Billy
Tete
Joe and
fighting
Tete.
before the television starts.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in a position where, like you said, Lerrone, he has to take those big fights, because if he doesn't take the fights, he might not get the opportunities. And it's interesting. For me, the biggest thing that shocked me last night was when I heard "Sweet Caroline."
Mate,
I went,
that was
shit,
crazy,
Frank,
you know.
you can't copyright that.
You can't
copyright
copyright a
that.
song. I saw it in Australia or somewhere before.
I was at Cyclone a couple of weeks ago in Edinburgh. I was there and I was freezing my fucking balls off, man. And "Sweet Caroline" came on.
Are there not enough songs in the world that you can find another anthem? Just, alright, you can't copyright a song because it's owned by, what's his face, Neil Diamond or whoever. But yeah, come on, man. Let's be a bit.
What would you play?
On the spot, I don't know.
What's as good?
There's better songs than that. There's that has become, for some reason, the song we associate with big fights in this country.
No, but I don't know if it's about big fights. It's about participation, right?
Yeah, everyone knows
It's
it.
got
Everyone
fuck all to
sings
do with
along.
fights. It's about a woman called Caroline who was sweet, apparently. I've met 2
What
women called
about
Caroline in my life. Rubbish.
5,000 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go for a bit of Proclaimers.
Yeah.
Why did it have to be in Scotland for that song to correct? You know what I mean?
If that was in Scotland, that would go off. But
They should have done that for the Josh Taylor then, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they might have done it as well. I don't know. I was so cold. That was in like a farm, like a big.
Barn.
I'm not joking, man. It's a Highland Centre, so it's a big open space that they normally do like Highland shows and like stuff like that. It was fucking freezing, man.
I got about 6 texts off you telling me crying. Just I'm so cold.
I know, it was so cold, man. So cold.
Gone a little bit off track here. I don't know what
If
we're talking
anyone
about.
wants to see my nipples erect, put another show in that venue and come along. That's guaranteed.
Was there any other questions in that? I know he used his characters well, but I think I do agree. I think
I think the main question was: is the quality gap between the two shortening? Is that becoming
what's the
smaller?
definition of quality? Because do you go event and show, whereas I believe Eddie has the ability to make these mega events that Frank doesn't currently have, or as a boxing purist, do you go the fight, which is what it's about for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know that I've seen small hall fights, Leon McKenzie, Cello Render, that still fucking get me buzzing when I think about it.
Yep.
And what would have happened if they'd have put that in an arena? How many people would have been there and gone, our main event is Mackenzie Render? Do you know what I mean? So it's different. It's really different what you're looking for, the event itself or the fights. Me personally, I want to see good fights. But when you come to boxing and you like a drink, I don't even know if you care about the fight.
Sometimes you do. Speaking of someone who likes to drink. No, I thought it was a good card. We had Paddy Barnes. How did Paddy Barnes look? I didn't really catch that. I know he stopped his man, right?
Stoppage, yeah. I saw the body shot.
Yeah.
Good fight?
I only saw I think a couple rounds of it, but I knew it was a good setup to the body, and it's good that he got a stoppage.
Yeah, he threw some good shots, good combinations.
That boy was a former world title challenger, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Paddy looked good though. He did these combinations. He went, and the setup for the body shot, the left hook to the body, I think, dug it in, man. It was nice shot. And the geezer was hurt, man. He was done.
I like Paddy Barnes. I like his interviews. I think he's got a good personality. I wonder, obviously, supreme amateur pedigree, fought in 3 Olympics, took 2 medals, I believe. I just wonder if people are going to get on board with that weight class, or if people are going to, will he ever headline a card, or will he ever be and you don't have to do that to make money, I understand that, or to create the legacy that you'd be happy with, but do you boys think he will ever be one of those guys that's the first name on a bill, or the thing that fans are most interested in?
I think so.
Yeah,
like you got the Chinese, was it flyweight, Ji Ming?
Yeah,
he does it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I think that the only difference I'd use there is we have a lot of boxers, whereas China, how many standout stars do they have? Do you know what I mean? Where I know what you're saying. Yeah. I think for me it's going to be about the fights, and what has become more apparent these days for me, to be in a big fight, we have to be aware of the opponent. Do you know what I mean? We've seen times where they build up a fight and the opponent will fight on the same card, and we'll see him interviewed and such and such. Whereas Paddy Barnes, to get these big massive fights, I don't think we're going to know the opponent. And it's the same problem I had with Katie Taylor. You know what I mean? I didn't care about the other side of the story because it was never pushed. I'm just supposed to watch Katie Taylor and appreciate what she does. And I think that would be the same with Paddy Barnes, unless we can see a contender that can really test him and they can have good fights together. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think in those, because we could take that shoe and put it on the other foot for the Jamie Conlon Jervin Ancajas fight. I didn't know fuck all about Ancajas.
I knew he's managed by Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, but I still knew that he was supposed to be a savage, right? I still knew he was supposed to go out there and bash Conlon up, which he did. With all due respect, he bashed him up. But I didn't know anything about him. But I still knew he was the toughest test. He was the best guy. He was a hard fighter.
Yeah.
So,
but don't you think Eddie tells you that with anyone who ever steps in the ring with one of his fighters?
Yeah, but
I was led to believe Charles Martin was he walked the earth like a god. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It all comes down to promoting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, do you think, Lerrone, I'm asking you, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you think that Eddie Hearn, because I think it can work both ways, Eddie Hearn will sell you, he'll sell you any fighter in the world, right? He'll sell you as though it's a fair fight. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, Takam's actually a better fight than Pulev, which it might have been, but he'll sell you anything at all. Whereas Frank is an old school guy. He's a more reserved sort of promoter. He knows what's class and he knows what's not class. What do you prefer, or what do you think is more beneficial for the boxers? Oh.
He's facing out.
You know, it's whatever makes the most money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. And Eddie Hearn speaks, and the way he speaks makes his fighters more money, so it's just
in turn making himself a lot more money.
And not only that, their profile grows as well.
But I think he gets more shit than Frank Warren, doesn't it? What do you think? From fans? I think Eddie gets more shit, like, don't sell us this, or you can't say that, or whatever else. I think Frank in his silence, or in his more so silence,
Frank keeps it real a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the difference between them two.
I agree. I think you touched it. He's old school. It's like, listen, it's difficult because as a promoter's job, he has to be the mouthpiece. That's what he is. That's who he is. You know, David Hay might not like it when he said where are we ever going to see boxers' characters when you've got Eddie doing all the talking for him these days? And there is that side to it. Frank kind of sits back. Billy Joe kind of does what he wants. I know he's a friend of yours, but Billy Joe does his own promotion. I personally believe it's the character of the boxer. If you want to talk enough, Eddie's not going to stop you. Like O'Hara does what he wants to do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know when it comes to like fighters that are outspoken, like Billy Joe, that's okay. But then you get fighters like Terry Flanagan, they don't really talk much. Barely. That's when you need that promoter. Yeah. To start talking out.
You do need it.
Because Terry Flanagan, is he going to fill out an arena? But then you look at the likes of Anthony Crawler, he
Yeah.
would do.
Yeah,
So
it's a good point.
you have to sort of vary it to the type of fighter you're dealing with.
It is interesting. Yeah, it kind of leads us on to questions about the main event. Oh fuck, we haven't even covered Conlon.
Well, you just did. He got savaged. He got savaged. He
was
got
harsh.
dropped and dropped and then hit and then dropped, and it got to a
And
point.
I love the Conlons, man.
Yeah, you can't not.
I
But
love the Conlons, but that
what fight was that for him? He's been around, but
18, 19 or something.
yeah.
Like,
So
I'm not sure, but it was,
if he can't do it now, you know, in that division where it's fucking buzzing.
It was the right time for him to take a shot like that.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Because no matter what opponent he was going to face, he would always make it. He likes the war, doesn't
he
he?
loves it, man. He had a total war with Anthony Nelson, and you look at Anthony Nelson compared to world champions. You know, it's a different level. But I'd be interested to know, Lerrone, what your tactical or technical breakdown of the fight was. What do you think went well? What do you think his feelings were, other than just natural ability?
It was weird because I was listening to Danny Vaughan in the corner between rounds, and he was saying weather the storm. Whereas I would have thought that Conor would have sort of taken it to him a little bit more and enforced himself, but he didn't. And that's when his opponent thought, you know what, let me just take control, and he took control, and then he started to land some big bombs on Conlon, and it went from pot from round one, really.
Yeah,
because it was weird. He just dropped in round one.
That weird when
the
he
delayed
went down.
the delayed one. It was
Was that a shot? What do you think? Was that a shot to the?
I didn't see it. I just
Because there was a bit of disparity between what it was for. Was it
Yeah.
a shot to the sternum that took a few seconds to register? Was it a leg injury?
Well,
I don't think it was a
it
leg
couldn't
injury.
have been the leg,
He was
no.
fine the next few rounds.
I thought it must have been a shot to the stomach. That he took 2 steps back, and it was like fuck. I'm struggling to breathe. You know what I mean? That's who knows. Yeah, but it was a weird one. But it's not often you see, because I heard Vaughan say weather the storm. I can think of one fight off the top of my head where a fighter is really their game plan was to weather the storm, and then the guy got tired and beat him. I think of Crawler and Barroso.
Yep.
Took 4 rounds of battering. He just took fucking 4 rounds of abuse, and then the guy tired and he beat him. Was that Conlon's tactic? I don't know. Should it have been? Evidently not. But it was a fucking savage beating.
You know, for me, the biggest thing was when I looked at the tail of the tape and when I looked at the preparation for the fight, Conlon was a lot taller, and he had a lot longer reach. 3 or 4 inches reach difference, for example, which at that weight class is quite a lot. How many times did you see him work on the outside or use the jab to keep that reach advantage or work at height? For me, all the physical attributes that he had, he never really seemed to use. And I thought, I'm kind of the same as Lerrone. I figured at one point, maybe round 3 or round 4, he's been down a couple of times. Why not come into the centre of the ring, throw a couple of combinations and see how you get on? It seemed to me he was always looking for the counter, and he was throwing them one shot at a time. I don't remember a time during the fight where he threw 3 or 4 shots. He never really threw a combination.
That might have been out of the respect that he had.
But you can't have that though.
No, you can't.
You have to an extent. I understand what you're saying, but you can't. It's a world title fight in front of your home fans. All you're doing is throwing single shots on the counter. You're never going to win a fight like that. And he wasn't strong enough. Ancajas was hitting a lot harder. He wasn't strong enough. I just feel like he wasn't really using his physical attributes.
I felt like the opponent looked bigger than him on screen.
Yeah, what, like taller?
Yeah, taller.
Nah, he was a lot. He was a good bit shorter. If you go back to the weigh-in picture, like there's a good couple of inches between them, man. There's a good couple of inches between them.
I wonder if I can find it.
Try
I think you're right. Though. I don't think he used the natural advantages he had. He got suckered into a game plan.
He was always second.
Mate, how am I spelling this? Ancajas. A-N-C-A-J.
If you bring up the weigh-in, like you'll see the difference between it. Look at the difference between them.
He looks a lot bigger.
A couple of inches,
But
you would never have known.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You would never have known, Lerrone, if you.
I think you're right though. In them small, tiny divisions, it's not really evident. They're all little, aren't they? They're all wee bibbers. It's not like heavyweight where you can have a lot.
But that's the thing. If you have 2 inches on someone in height and 3 inches in reach at that weight,
you've got to use it.
What are you focusing on?
Yeah,
you're not focusing on working inside. Or you, for me,
I think you're right.
Unless that's all you know, then maybe you should be working on that. But fuck knows. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a boxer, so I can't really comment.
Yeah.
But God, good for Jamie Conlon. I think he's an absolute warrior. I think the Conlon family, I think Michael Conlon's going to do a lot of good things as well. But
he's fighting on the card you're going to, isn't he?
He's fighting on Lomachenko Rigondeaux, which I will be at. If anyone's in New York and wants a beer, let me know. I'll be there. Not as media, so we can get a couple of beers.
You didn't get accepted. They not accept you.
Fuck them.
Bastards.
Nah, but listen, the Collins will come again. The thing with Jamie is he's been in a lot of wars.
That's what I was saying. Like, he's 18, 19 and now this was the time for him, like you said, Lerrone, and his shortcomings were very evident. So what I don't know what his ambitions are from here on out. And good luck to him either way, anyway.
Good boy. He's a nice guy.
Carl Frampton, main event.
Woo.
First 3 rounds, I thought he looked superb.
The first round he looked so good.
He was slick. Them combinations, the speed, the footwork, the timing.
He would land a shot. He landed like a big shot, and instead of like following up, he just put his chin out.
Yeah.
Like this, I was like, what the?
Yeah,
fuck?
he stepped back. He put the chin up a bit, and he looked classy as
good.
fuck. And then something happened. I don't know. Well, what could you put your finger on it, Lerrone? Because he wasn't.
He hasn't been active, has he?
Yeah, but this is my thing, right? And I thought this last night when I was watching it. They put a lot of weight on the whole. Well, he hasn't fought in 10 months. He hasn't fought in 10 months. It's not like it's 18 months. Like, it's not. Some guys will only have 2 fights in a year, right? A lot of guys who are world champions that have been unified world champions, they'll have 2 fights in a year. He was preparing for a fight against
Gutierrez,
old shower boy, old fucking psycho for the shower. He was preparing for a fight against him, and he was in camp there. So I didn't think the 10 months was a massive crutch that we could really lean on.
Yeah,
I've never prepared
even
for
though
a fight.
we didn't hear about the opponent much. He wasn't bad.
He was good.
He was good. So
Canelo thought so. You see, Canelo.
Canelo came over.
Canelo came over to watch him. You're right. So you're right. But what I did find strange, Carl said afterwards, this opponent was 100% my choice. Which you've got management for a reason. Like, do you want a tough? Well, he obviously wanted the tough fight like that, but bit of a weird fight because the guy brought more than I guess anyone thought he would. He took some fucking shots, and he threw back more than most people would have expected this opponent to have. There's a lot of questions on the Frampton fight itself. Terry from the Seven Wolves.
Shout out Terry from the Seven Wolves.
Always.
All day.
Is Frampton burned out from all the McGuigan training? Was the first Santa Cruz fight his peak?
Two parts to that question. I don't know about the McGuigan training. I'm not really sure because other guys seem to be thriving under that McGuigan clan.
As he did. Let's not forget he done great things under Shane McGuigan.
Was that his peak? Even if he goes and wins a world title again, that might still be his peak because it was a fucking incredible achievement. So you fought a guy who was taller, longer, heavier. You done it in the back garden. Where was it? New York?
New York was the second one, wasn't it? First one was Texas, or have I made that up?
Yeah, no, Vegas maybe.
Maybe I can't remember.
Maybe Vegas.
It was abroad, and it was in America.
He went over to his back garden and beat a guy in Leo Santa Cruz who hasn't really been picked apart before. So that might always be his peak, regardless of what he does moving forward. So yeah, I would say that is his peak.
Lerrone, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I'm going to agree with Craig in this one, yeah.
It was some achievement, like you said, and that made him a 2-weight world champ. He'd gone from the Quigg fight, Super Bantam, unified it, didn't he? Because he was champ.
Fucking Quigg, man.
Do you know, last night I was thinking about that fight. I saw Quigg ringside and I saw his...
Why is he there?
I saw his dopey face there and I thought, mate...
It was a close fight. It wasn't that close.
That may be the worst pay-per-view that... It's that bad, it forgets my... I forget it. Whenever we talk about worst pay-per-views...
You forget it's a pay-per-view.
I forget it even happened. Terrible pay-per-view that was.
But they took it like it was a close fight. It wasn't a close fight.
It wasn't close. It wasn't given as... It was given close from the judges.
It was given a split?
Horrific, mate.
Crazy, man.
But last night's judges were a little bit close as well for me. A little bit wide, but kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I thought the guy who was fighting did very well. I thought the body attack, and when he had Carl was sitting against the ropes a lot, which I didn't think he had to do. I don't know if that's a stamina issue, probably, but yeah, I don't know.
What do we put on the fact that he's been with a new trainer, a new manager, and a new promoter for what, 3 months?
You know the biggest thing for me? New trainer, new promoter, new manager. Who is calling all of the shots? Carl Frampton.
Yeah. For
Who does he
him
want to
get the
fight?
opponent-
Where does he want to fight? Windsor Park. Frank goes, yep, Windsor Park, cool.
I don't have a problem with that, really.
Who's the
though.
opponent? Yeah, but then what's the point in having these guys?
Why
though?
have MTK? He's probably not a. Dillian White is a boxing manager.
Why
he manages
have them?
himself. Yeah,
I chose the opponent 100%. Frank promised me Windsor Park 100%. I don't understand why. And then you see Jamie Moore beforehand, who I've got a lot of respect for. I think he's a very good trainer and he'll do big things in the game. He's in the gym just
pandering. He was pandering.
wanking Frampton off.
Yeah, he
like
was.
I wanted to think of another phrase, but I can't.
Pandering will do it.
Pandering would maybe do. Just wanking him off. But he's like, oh, he's the best. He's so good. Everyone in the gym's watching him doing this and da 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 da.
I know.
And I was like, what's your input there? It was weird.
He holds the pads.
It was a bit weird for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's definitely got a lot to show from now, because there is going to be a gap, because you're going to have Selby and Warrington fighting, Santa Cruz and Mares. So there is a gap. I think he needs one more fight before he looks at the big summer fight.
Interesting question from Jamie Ingleby, which we'll pass over to Lerrone. Shout out Jamie, always doing a lot of good work, and always good for discussion on Twitter as well, which we respect, mate. Thank you. Question was, perhaps Frampton needs to move up to super feather already. Power shots had no effect on Garcia. Granted, it would appear Garcia had a coffin nail for a chin. Fair shout. Carl Frampton looked lean at even 9-1. He may be short, but he has a wide frame. Lomachenko aside, is he better than the rest of the champs at that weight above?
I don't think Carl Frampton's big enough, if I'm honest. I've met him myself. He's quite small. Even when he moved up to featherweight, I didn't think he'd be big enough for that.
Especially when you saw him against Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is a massive feather.
Even when he boxed Scott Quigg was bigger than him as well. So, no, I wouldn't suggest he moves up.
But you have to look at the fact that he weighed in at 9-1 for the previous fight that got cancelled. And then even though it wasn't overweight this time, he weighed in at 9-1 again. So, is there an issue with weight? Is there an issue with him weighing in or cutting down, do you think?
But it was weird, because when I watched him at the weigh-in, he didn't look as lean as he usually does. He looked very slim, and you didn't really see much muscle. When he was with Shane McGuigan, he was more ripped.
Yeah, I guess difference in training. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the training regimes that McGuigan's do compared to Jamie Moore, but maybe slightly different is a little bit more strength and conditioning. It could be a number of things, I guess. But you're right. Either way, the weight he's now missed. I say missed weight. They agreed to fight at 9-1 because it wasn't a title fight, so they didn't have to make the featherweight limit. I think time will tell. My only problem with Carl Frampton is I personally don't know what more he wants to achieve. That's it, because he's a 2-weight world champion. I don't know. Time will tell.
I really, really like watching Frampton fight. I thought last night, first couple of rounds, I thought went in for a masterclass here. Question from Paul Altai. Shout out Paul Altai.
Paul's a guy, isn't he? Got a dodgy accent, though.
You know, I spoke to him.
I know on that
on Raps on
TV. I heard
he
that.
phoned in. I was like, "Fuck, that's what you sound like, man." Shout out Paul Altai. I've only ever seen him on text before. With the domestic featherweight scene thriving, who do you class as the UK number one at £126?
Selby.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ahead of Frampton?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I like Selby, man.
He's so consistent, isn't he? You know what you're going to get with Selby.
Very skilled.
Very skilled.
So Selby Warrington is not, you don't think it's as close as some people do? I've seen some people on Twitter saying it should be quite easy for Warrington.
No.
I don't know if they're just from Leeds. Maybe it was fucking Tony Yeboah.
Tony Yeboah, what a goal that was.
What a man.
I think, for me, Warrington is he's got a serious engine. His output is intense. He doesn't have the boxing brain that Selby's got, so I'd have to agree with him.
The Welsh Mayweather.
Selby Frampton's a great scrap. That's a great scrap. And I don't know who wins that. I think that could be dependent on where it's held. Selby Frampton, it'd be interesting to see where that's held.
I think Warrington and Frampton will be a better fight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a bigger golfing class then, rather than, because like we just said, Frampton, who knows where he'll go from here. He's been at the higher level before, but
I think it's a matter of taking the right opponent at the right time. I for Warrington. If he boxes Frampton, people probably think that Frampton's on a slide. His engine ain't there, whereas Warrington's got a big engine. He's fit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Question here. I'm going to do an impression.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm going to do an impression, and this is, you already know what it is.
I don't, but you're not very good at them, for honest.
Alright, mate. For fuck's sake. This is an impression of something that happened last night, and that we got loads of questions about.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You got...
Are you ready?
Go on then.
Strap yourself in. So, yeah, remember Frampton got put down, yeah? Off Gonzalez Jr., who was strapped in the back of a van naked and got fucking shot in the head. Why are you doing it, Bunsey? Why are you talking about it?
I had 3 questions on that.
We had loads of questions about it, man.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Now,
Why
you were on Bunsey's show less than 2 months ago, so I'm going to appreciate you not saying a word right now.
Why is he doing it?
It kind of went over my head, if I'm honest.
I think there's a time and a place to talk about one of Carl Frampton's ex-opponents being murdered in a drug-related...
Naked
in a van, shot to fuck. I don't think live on television is really the place.
Why?
But we've just done it on the pod.
No, that's a question.
It was more than one question. It was 3 questions.
It was a tremendous impression, to be fair.
It was terrible, mate.
Listen, Bunsey... I fucking really like Bunsey because he's so passionate. You watch these guys on Sky Sports, like Johnny Nelson or whatever, no disrespect to them. I feel like I've said no disrespect like 10 times already.
That's what you always say before you cuss someone, isn't it? No disrespect, you ugly bastard. But
no, listen, I watch Adam Smith's show, I watch Johnny Nelson on a show, but you never get the same passion as you do from Steve Bunce.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bunsey's boxing or Lerrone, whether it's, whatever else it is, he's always passionate. I think sometimes he's outspoken. I see him on social media, I'll go on a fucking rant about why is there no one platform that covers news and blah blah blah, blah for every single fight in the world. And I thought to myself, because there's no money in it, Steve, and nobody really wants to do that sort of stuff all the time. But last night, I just feel like
I think he crossed the line, but I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it's spiteful.
He didn't have to do it, but he wasn't thinking about it.
No, he wasn't thinking. I think he's showing, watch this, watch how fucking knowledgeable I am. Bam! And then everyone stepped back and went, whoa! I don't think he should have gone there, Steve. It was a bit intense, to be honest. What they zoomed in on his face, I would love him to zoom out and see the rest of everyone else's faces.
Josh Warrington would have been shocked. The host would have been shocked. Scott Quigg probably would just have been wondering where he was. Somewhere.
2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 4, that's simple maths. He doesn't. Yeah, he's not the smartest boy, Quigg, but
I think Bunsey probably went too far. That's a shout out to fucking loads of people. Paul Altai, Rob Martin, who else?
Kev said it.
Kev Smith, shout out Kev Smith.
Yeah.
I think Bunsey need to remind all the viewers last night of how Gonzalez Jr. died. Fucking
probably
hell.
not. We're gonna have a beer break.
Yes.
Let's move on to Instagram. And 1 or 2 posts that have been sent out recently.
What are you talking about, mate? I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a few people that don't probably. Let's put some meat on it.
So I slipped into a bird's DMs.
No, that's not true. It was a bloke's DMs. Anthony Joshua, official account, apparently has sent messages to Eddie Chambers, who is a heavyweight. Where would you say he's ranked in the world?
Who, Chambers?
Chambers.
Irrelevant.
As irrelevant as me, or maybe a little bit less?
A little bit more irrelevant than you.
Yeah. So, me personally, I don't know why he would have sent them, but either way, they're quite insulting. He was saying, "Fuck you, you're a bitch, you're a disgrace to the race." He said
the superior race.
The superior race. He said quite a few things, right? Or I say the account did. Okay.
Yep.
So this happened last Sunday or Monday. Then after that, it went quiet. Eddie Hearn replied to one tweet saying, "Nah, mate, it was a fake account." So what Eddie Chambers' coach did was film him on the phone, clicked on the sender of the message, and it went to the verified account of Anthony Joshua.
Yep.
Silence for 3 days.
Yep.
And then a spokesperson come out and said, "Okay, it has been sent from the official account. We're looking into it."
Let's pass this one over to Lerrone Richards. What's your thoughts, mate?
I don't know whether he said it or he didn't. That's my thoughts.
Summed up perfectly. I reckon he either did or he didn't. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. All right, cheers. Thanks for that.
And even if he did, Why would you admit it?
Yeah, that's true. That's the big thing, isn't it? If you've done it on the spur of the moment and you've seen the reaction that you garnered, would you then go, yeah, it was me? It fucking was me. What about Westfield? What about Lucozade? What about all these
Under Armour links?
All these endorsements?
Money people. Yeah. Okay, I have a few problems with it. Again, I touched on Eddie Chambers being irrelevant, and I don't mean that insultingly. He's never once, to my knowledge, ever been mentioned as a possible AJ opponent.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near fighting for a world title, any of them.
He's not fought for a year and a half.
He is very irrelevant in the heavyweight scene. Why would AJ go after him?
It's very random. It's too random for me. Like, and then Eddie Chambers is like, yeah, if you want to fight
I'll
champ,
take the fight,
if you want to fight champ, we can fight. I'm like, oh, fuck off, mate. And he's like, yeah, AJ fans are delusional. I'm like, you're fucking delusional, Eddie Chambers, because even if it was AJ, I'm not condoning what was said or what wasn't said or who typed it or who whatever else, but you're never fighting for a world title. Eddie Chambers, it's over, man. So, on one hand, it was very random that it was sent, regardless of the situation. But on the other hand, I'm like, you're giving somebody enough rope to hang themselves here with a whole, I'll take the fight, I'll do this, I'll do that. People are bored of that already.
2 people already said to me, what if Eddie Chambers hacked it himself? He's just trying for the fuck it, I'm gonna hack his instant. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. But when AJ did his little Twitter rant last week, which is a couple of tweets, he tweeted the people that he's going to fight.
Get fit, you fat fuck.
Tyson Fury, Parker, and Wilder. They're the 3 that he's been talking about because they're fights that are going to happen.
Yeah.
Are you going to randomly call out a heavyweight that? It doesn't make.
Worth it, is it?
It's not worth
Very
it.
weird.
I think last time Eddie Chambers boxed was like Gerard Washington.
Yeah,
Was
he lost, right?
He lost that fight.
Lost on points or lost stoppage. Or I think the last couple of people that he beat Derek Rossi.
That gets you a world title fight if your name's Devane Stavern.
Stavern got a title fight off the back of that. So
Yeah.
he's irrelevant. He hasn't fought the whole of 2017.
In your opinion, did he send him, Mr. Joshua himself? Bear in mind, this week we've seen him in Dubai, literally making me hate every second of my life when you see what he's getting up to. Like, crazy. Do you think he took 5 minutes out of his fucking time in Dubai to send Instagram posts to Eddie Chambers? That's
You know, if I was Joshua and I'd had so much money and so much success and so many people loving me and I'd had to play this game of being like a media darling and everything else, if I was bored with my boys and I was sitting on a seat in Dubai like smoking shisha or in the
Big up the
temple
shisha.
or doing whatever he's doing, man, fair play, whatever he's doing. But if I was bored and some of my boys went, fucking message out Eddie Chambers, guy, it'll be a laugh, I'd maybe do it, man. I'd maybe do it.
because you're the top of the world, you forget.
I'd maybe be like, ah, fuck it. But I don't, I almost feel like he's too smart a businessman to do that. It's hard to say.
But why Eddie Chambers? It could be anyone else. It could be anyone else.
I know. I can't see it. Yeah.
Unless he knows, because Eddie Chambers is tight with Tyson Fury, right? They're
They
tight.
used to train together. Yeah, he used to come over here for camps,
Yeah,
I
he was
believe,
in the
Chambers.
Fury camp, and they're friends, man. They tag each other and everything and do everything. So unless it's like a kind of sideways shot at that element, but even then, it's a bit much.
Yeah, someone said that they reckon Fury got the Instagram post.
Fury's hacked it.
Tyson Fury's hacked it. I'm not sure he can hack fucking a diet at the minute, to be fair. We're fine. Neither can I. I'm not one to judge. It's just a very, very weird situation.
It is a mad one.
I doubt we'll find the truth out, to be honest.
I don't know. I think we're always going to get cover up something. You're always going to get somebody telling you a story. No, this is what happened. That's what happened. And I guess it goes back to what Lerrone said. That's what a promoter's there for, right? Promoter's there to kind of help you out when you fuck stuff up, and they're there to promote you when you need promoted as well. So it's interesting. I don't know if it was him, but if it was me, I'd probably do it.
You're a wrong one, though.
I'd probably do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I doubt it will come out, but I don't think it's worth. I don't think Eddie Chambers was worth his time. That's my opinion. There's something I want to touch on that I find personally quite sensitive.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of questions about it because some of the bigger news outlets are not news outlets, boxing outlets are running the story of Darryl Williams. For people that may not have seen, now you're one that you trained with him for a long time. You're going to have your own opinions on it. When I saw the posts, it smacked to me of a man that he's fed up.
Yeah.
he basically, if you haven't seen it, he didn't tweet, he put it on his Facebook that he was retiring. He was sick of it. It was politics. It was a lot of shit. His career's been stop-start, and he don't want to do it no more. And to me personally, it stunk of a man who's up. He just had enough. He's fed up, disillusioned with the way things are going. He just beat Jermaine Smile twice, and then was due to fight Lennox Clark, and now they've been matched, and he's been left out in the cold, even though he's an English title holder who's undefeated. It must be frustrating, but he's obviously going through some stuff. So I don't know. I personally, I don't know him as well as a lot of other people. I've known him for a little while, but he's a lovely bloke, and I just can't see this being it. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I think Daryl, he's just going through a little stage right now.
You know him well. Like, obviously you trained together for a long time before he went up to Ricky Hatton.
But Jeremy, there was a lot. I think there's a build up of things. I think there were statuses before, like on his
yeah, I seen that on his Facebook.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little build up, and he's feeling a bit stressed right now, and
he's just venting.
It's
possible he's venting, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's obviously not happy about something.
I'll make a statement, and it probably get me in trouble.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I've got enough lawsuits, man.
More so than the Bunsey impression.
As if we would lie.
Fuck Mickey Elliott.
Oh shit!
Can I say that?
I mean, I spoke to him about a week ago about doing an interview, but yeah, you go for it.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Listen.
We're not here to make friends, are we?
Listen, I'm never going to get media for a Elliott show again, but that's alright. I've been to a couple, they were nonsense. Too much? No, listen.
Oh, God.
If Mickey Elliott is your manager, he's got two guys now who are killing it, right? He's got Darryl Williams, he's led to an English title. He's led to a couple of really, really impressive televised performances, right? He's got a Senior Byfield, who he's led also to similarly Southern Area title. Couple of fantastic performances on live TV, whether it's Cyclone, whether it's Box Nation. Overcame the odds and beat Sam McNess in a fucking mad fight, where I'll let you know, I called that he was going to batter McNess as well. He's went over to America. He's had a good scrap with Gervonta Davis in the Mayweather gym. He's made a bit of a name for himself. He's got broadsheet newspapers, people covering his career. What's he doing? What is he doing? What's Darryl Williams doing? Why is Darryl Williams supposed to be fighting Lennox Clark, and then that gets pulled, and Lennox Clark's fighting the guy that Darryl Williams just beat twice back to back? Why is that happening? And I know that people talk about promotion and promoters, and you have to obey, that's the promoter's wishes. You're the guy's manager. You're his fucking manager. And I was on a Senior Byfield's Facebook a week ago.
Just stalking him.
A week ago, yeah. I like him. I fucking like him.
Watching him dabble over people and shit.
I was on his Facebook, and a not too dissimilar post from the one that Darryl put on his Facebook was on a Senior's Facebook. I don't know if any of you have been on it or you've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
A massive long paragraph about how boxing has chewed him up and spat him out, or how boxing has not been fair to him and it's not what he thought it would be, and he's ready to give up and he's fed up with all this shit or whatever else. Now for me, alarm bells start ringing, because I go, two guys who are now promoted by or have been promoted by Frank Warren, who is a stalwart of British boxing, right? He knows what he's doing. He's paying guys what he should be paying them. He's doing what he's doing. He's giving them exposure. But both of these guys feel as though boxing has chewed them up and spat them out, and they're both managed by the same guy. Now, I don't care who promotes you. Your manager should be taking care of that. Darryl Williams should not be having to worry about who he's fighting next, what show it's on, what TV show it's on, what the purse is. That's not his job, because he's not his own manager. Mickey Elliott's his manager. A Senior Byfield who went over and fought in the Mayweather gym and sparred a world champion, had a good scrap with a world champion. He's battered everybody he's fought in the last 4 or 5 fights. Why is he putting a Facebook status on, stressing out about who he's fighting next? Yeah. He's one of the most exciting guys in the welterweight division in the UK. I think he gives Ted Cheeseman fucking hell. I've said it before. Why is he worrying about it? He's not the manager. Mickey Elliott's the manager. And I say fuck Mickey. I don't mean fuck Mickey Elliott, man. He's a nice guy, but what are we doing here? Why are we taking your two most talented guys, and why did they both seem directionless? Why did they both seem as though they've fallen out in love with the sport? I don't understand it, because those are the two guys who can take you to the next level and can make you the money that you should be making. I'm out.
Drop the mic and shit. Do you have any thoughts on it? Or you just think he's just disillusioned with regards to what Craig said? Management, obviously, you don't share a manager, so you're not going to know the ins and outs. But you personally, have you ever felt disillusioned, or can you see why boxers would do, or why Daryl would in this instance?
I had a problem with my manager before, didn't I? That's why I was out for 2 years, and it can make you feel down. But it's adversity. You need to get past it, and you need to. What Daryl needs to do is think positive. Obviously, there's other issues. I feel more than boxing. Boxing's always like this. There's always politics. Things always happen.
It can be a dirty game.
It's a dirty game, but I think it's just a stage for Daryl, and he'll be back.
Yeah. It's randomly, as we're sitting here, we've got messages from someone saying that they blame Mickey Helliott. It's random that Mickey Helliott's to blame for the Daryl Williams situation. I don't know. I've had a couple of conversations with Mickey, and they've always been pleasant. But again, I'm not putting my career in his hands. So there is that. Who knows what happened? I really hope Daryl gets his nut right, and like you said, it's probably more than boxing at the minute, so everything's feeling on top of him. He's got personal life issues.
Just say he's got to look after his daughter and things like that, so he's got them priorities.
And massive respect for that. That's the priority, man. That's always your priority. And he's obviously got issues in his personal life. He put a status on Facebook where he's talking about, if you see any posts, these are not from me, these are from an ex-bud or whatever else. Like, there's obviously some stuff going on, man, which we've always had. I've had some fucking mental ex-buds, man. And they weren't even worth the hassle, they just had a big ass. But it's never... that's how I party. But it's never just about that. There's always something else going on in the background. And I think, hopefully we see Daryl back, man, because he's a warrior.
For me, it's a really difficult one, because you have to strike while the iron's hot. So he's just had 2 fights on BT. Now is the time his name should be at the highest, regardless of what level he'll reach. This is the time that he's most relevant right now. What if he doesn't fight for 6, 9, 12, 18 months? No, is anyone going to care, or are they going to care a hell of a lot less than they do now?
So what cut is his manager taking then?
I don't know. I know. Listen, you don't know. Is that relevant though? Surely, if the manager's taking 1% or 50%, he should be making you the right fights as your manager.
But that's what I'm saying though. So what's he doing? You can't be saying like, you can't sit here and say, well, you know, it's a matter of time. It's striking while the iron is hot, which is all spot on. Someone is employed, particularly in that position, to look after all that stuff. What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing.
Do we know that Mickey's to blame, or is it easy to blame the manager? Because if I know for a fact Daryl thought he was fighting Lennox Clark, and he thought he was fighting him, I believe it was yesterday or last week.
On Box Rec it said Belfast, he's meant to fight
Belfast, so and that was a couple of months ago. So dirty things happen. Again, if I'm Nick Webb, I'm pissed off that Nathan Gorman fight was taken off me at a week or two's notice. So it's possible something similar has I don't know. I'm you know what I mean? I'm speculating, but I know what you're saying. And if he feels Williams has been on the wrong side of some treatment, he should be more vocal in telling us what it is and why he's out there trying to fix it, I guess, so that Daryl isn't out there on his own as a lone ranger, because that's what he's doing at the minute.
That was a question from Martin Theobald, New Age Boxing Podcast, who said, who is to blame for Williams' retirement? I basically just handled that delicately and just approached it my own way.
Yeah.
But
Terry, who does the podcast with him, obviously the Seven Walls, said basically the same. If an English champion like Daryl can retire from boxing due to frustration, what hope is there for anyone?
And does that make you think, Lerrone, because he's in your division, right? So does that make you think about the sustainability of boxing as a career, or does that give you any second thoughts around that?
No, absolutely not, because everyone's different. You know, things happen. And if it did happen to me, you just sort of got to stay focused, and if you really want something, you just got to wait it out, and just there'll be opportunities. And I'm sure if Daryl comes back, there will be opportunities for him.
I think Daryl's a volatile, ferocious character. His nickname says it all.
I like him.
Whereas Lerrone, in my personal opinion, is a lot more level-headed than Daryl. And it's not an insult to Daryl. I'm saying different personalities. Do you know what I mean? So one person deals with something one way, and
the reason why, maybe, like, if you think about it, Lennox Clark and Daryl Williams in Belfast, does that really make sense? Are you going to put that fight?
Did Williams and Smith in Newcastle make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like,
but it's Williams and Smith. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like, but then again, you don't know what happened. Lennox Clark maybe didn't want the fight. Maybe he preferred the fight of Jermaine's smile.
So get him get Williams somebody else then. Get him Chael Renda.
Yeah.
Chael Renda would bite his fucking hand off for that fight.
He's been
He
so
actually
vocal.
commented on it. He commented on it and said, "Listen, if Williams is retiring, he's the English champ. If Rocky Fielding's fighting for a WBC International, whatever the fuck it is, get me a fight for the English or the British." So guys like that are always there, and I think maybe Clark didn't make sense, and I totally understand that, but there's somebody there would have made sense. Somebody would have made sense.
Get him active, get him fighting. No, I agree. But no, shout out Darryl. I hope he comes back from this, man. I really do, because it's not a nice way to go out. You know what I mean, for anyone due to frustrations in the sport. So yeah, I hope he sorts it out, man.
Shout out Mickey Elliott. I was only joking. Fuck off.
We're gonna go a little bit off boxing.
Are we?
Yeah, didn't you know that? I want to talk about my favourite TV program. Why are you laughing? Dun, 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 dun. Is that the right? I don't know. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. And Amir Khan. All right, let me get this right out of the way, because I'm a massive hypocrite. Because I'm abusing Amir Khan, but when David Hay went in there, I was buzzing. I was buzzing when the Haymaker was in there.
Was Audley on it as well?
No way, he went on Strictly, mate. He's not. But Lerrone, initial thoughts. Amir Khan.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah.
What do you think? Like, what do you think is the best that can happen? Obviously,
I want to see him eat a crocodile bollock or something. You know, he's got to do something.
Obviously,
like that.
he will appeal to a wider audience out with boxing fans, right? But there's also a possibility he could make an arse of himself in front of a wider audience.
That's the hope, isn't it?
Fans.
I want to hear him ranting about who his missus has shagged lately. AJ's shagged my missus again, or I don't know.
What do you think? Like, what's up with Amir Khan? What is going on there? Because you roll back the clock 10 years. He was one of the biggest prospects, and he beat Kotelnik, and he was a world champion, and he was a 17-year-old silver medalist in the Olympic Games. And where does it went wrong?
See, for me, do you know what? Yeah, I think Amir Khan gets more abuse than he should.
I don't.
No, but I mean his boxing career. I'm talking about his boxing career. All right, he got absolutely annihilated, jaw taken off by Canelo Alvarez.
Three people.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go to Peterson and whoever else abused. Danny Garcia, Peterson, is that right?
Prescott as well.
Oh, Bradis Prescott, yeah. All right, he's been bad. But he's been in there with some tough boys.
That Maidana fight was...
Maidana was fight of the year 2010, 11, something like that. Yeah. Garcia, he's never shied away from big fights, ever. The last few years, he's gone a bit weird. I don't know what... He's trying to get Floyd to fight him, but Floyd couldn't give a fuck about Amir Khan.
Why would he?
Why did he care about McGregor? I guess he's
not...
not...
Amir Khan hasn't done anything relevant. This is the thing that kind of gets to me. When was the last time he won a fight? Was it when he beat Devin Alexander? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
he outpointed Alexander comfortably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander was on fucking. He was addicted to pills or whatever. He was on something as well at the same time. But,
is that official, or are you just throwing more shade on people?
No, that's because fuck off. No, Alexander just came back this weekend from. It's his first fight back from addiction, so good for him. But I don't understand. I just don't know where this went wrong. Like, is it in the guidance? Is it in the promotion? Is it because Frank used to have a lot to do with him, right? Frank was the one that led him out, and he had a few good fights. And Frank was with him when he won his first world title, whatever else. Frank stuck with him after the Prescott fight. Where does it went wrong after that?
He was flying at one time, wasn't
right?
he? Yeah.
He had the Maidana fight. He was beating Judah. He was beating all these guys.
Yeah.
What Barrera? What is it? This went wrong? Is it internal?
Yeah, he actually beat Algieri last time. It was his last victory, which was May 2015.
On points.
Yeah,
like Pacquiao put him down
16 times or something. Yeah, no, I don't know. But you know, I'm looking through his record. Yeah, Sal Alvarez, Algieri, Alexander, Collazo, Danny Garcia, Molina, Peterson, Judah, Maidana, Malignaggi. So. You're right. There's been a time where something has changed for him, where maybe he feels like he's earned mega fights now, rightly or wrongly.
He doesn't need the money, though, does he?
He does a lot of charity work, you know. He does a lot of charity work, and I respect that.
I don't know, Lerrone.
I think a big fight here and there might help out his. I was going to say alimony payments.
Do you feel, Lerrone, as though Amir Khan has earned super fights? Has he earned that position to be sitting back waiting on a super fight?
Nah.
I don't think
No,
so.
he hasn't, no.
I don't think, because he's been in big fights, but he hasn't won a lot of those big
Because
fights.
he's not active. He's not active at all, is he?
He's not a boxer for me right now. He's not. I mean, he's not.
He's a celebrity now.
That's the thing. He's not been involved as a boxer. He's been involved as. There he is. They're doing a charity thing. Which, listen, you can't fuck with charity.
Got his
man.
cock out on
Like,
Skype a few times. He did. I'm not joking. We laughing. He did.
He did. No,
He
I
had a
know.
little fondle of his schlong on Skype, but
Haven't we all? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Nobody?
no.
Nobody else?
Right. Nah, it's a strange one. I do believe he's probably gone a bit weird. You know what I mean? Maybe too many fucking knockouts. Maybe Canelo Alvarez has more to answer for than we thought.
I think, for me, and I say this to everybody, I've said it 100 times, when you become more famous for how you've been brutally knocked out than you do for whatever you won, it's maybe time to start considering.
But he's only 30 years old. The man's got to make the money for the rest of his
But it
career.
doesn't. But it
What
doesn't
do you reckon he'll
matter.
get for-
He turned pro when he was 18, man. 12 years is
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah, and he's had how many time world champ? He's been around, you know what I mean?
2 or 3, but look at the knockouts. So there's never just been like, it's never been, oh, the ref might have stepped in a bit early there.
Yeah,
Oh, was he?
He's-
Oh,
He's usually asleep.
he was up by 8. Like, he was normally fucked. Like, Prescott, he was fucked. Garcia, he was fucked. Like, he normally gets done pretty seriously.
Would you ever go on I'm a Celeb run?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's loving it.
He didn't even fucking skip
Yeah,
a beat.
I would, 100%.
What appeals to you?
Just a challenge.
Not the money. Cause what do you reckon he's getting? 200 grand? It's got to be a lot of money, isn't it?
120, 140k or something.
But yeah, it's different. I think you could see
It's a
yourself.
good
sitting-
laugh, isn't it, really?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I
Obviously,
think-
I know like if I was on it, I'd scream and you know all this stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, but
Fuck that, the spiders and all that.
but
I used to always fancy going on Big Brother.
Oh no.
Used to always think I'd win Big Brother if I went
I
on it,
couldn't
I'd
sit
win.
there 20 hours a day doing nothing
yeah.
until they give you a task. But we're now talking about Big Brother. This is a boxing podcast, Craig. Fuck.
Sure, Big Brother.
Um,
If you want me on, I'm in.
I figured that. To be fair,
Don't need to listen
celebrity. No, but it's not really celebrities anymore. We've gone off track. But Amir Khan, I think there's still big fights for him. I do. I think his name is still relevant. Although he as a fighter probably isn't.
He needs to fight someone first before he gets a big fight.
Who does he beat?
It's to earn it, yeah.
Yeah.
Who does
that's
he
it.
beat though?
What at 147
Who does he beat?
or 154? Because where
If
did
he
he?
fights at 147 with Thurman and those guys,
Oh,
he doesn't
that's
beat
silly.
anyone.
No, he
He
doesn't.
doesn't beat anyone.
He doesn't beat anyone.
If he fights at 160, he doesn't beat anyone either.
No. So they could find someone in the middle at
He could fight
154.
a Charlo.
Maybe a Charlo or Hurd.
The Charlos would kill him, man. Hard's a good shout.
Hurd, you could have.
Hard's not the most mobile guy.
Yeah,
So-
but Amir Khan's hand speed used to scare me. Like that was his number one. That's what he was great at. As you get older, surely that's the first thing that starts to dissipate.
I don't know. I think Hard's a good shout
Maybe.
I would like to see Amir Khan in England though.
for a change.
Yeah, for a change. Yeah.
In the Reebok, is it still the Reebok
Manchester,
Stadium?
or,
Bolton.
yeah, Bolton, Manchester, something like that.
Maybe is there an English? I don't really want to see Kell Brook anymore. I'll be honest.
I think
It was too long. I
think Kilbrook batters him,
until his face falls apart.
but you never know. Maybe Kilbrook's eyeballs fall apart.
Yeah.
So that's a weird one. Kilbrook due back reasonably soon.
I
As
heard
well.
it was December, but it hasn't been announced.
No, it's not December. It won't be December.
Who knows? Who knows?
There's no questions about him.
No, there's not one
Like,
question. I just wanted to talk about Amir Celeb. It's on tonight, man.
What is it on like?
Dun, 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 dun.
That's not the song.
Is it not?
That's like fucking Blind Date.
I've done it twice now as well.
That's the X Factor.
Yes,
Yeah.
no,
That's all the same.
Yes,
That's all the same, isn't it? ITV.
Good
What's
tune.
that? That was
Wow, don't worry about that. It's just TV.
next week. We'll go in more detail about theme tunes. But
Next
for now,
week something else is popping off.
what's happening next week?
Sniper the Boss.
Is that next week? Or, well,
Sniper.
it depends when you start your week on a Sunday or a Monday, doesn't it?
Sniper the Boss.
8 days.
8 days.
Shit,
Yeah.
how does that? 8 days till you fight for the WBO European title.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Talk about it, man. Tell us about the fight. Tell us all the details.
I'm boxing on the 27th of November in St Paul's against Unda Ozgul.
Nice.
Mickey Elliott fighter.
Yeah,
Do it for Craig, for fuck's sake, whatever you do.
yeah.
Dinner show, yeah?
It's a dinner show. One of Frank Warren's charity events. I think it's the Deborah show.
Okay.
Yeah, which is good, and I'll be headlining that, and I can't wait.
Nice.
It's one of the questions. Martin from New Age Boxing I've screenshotted it and now I've got to find it. But it's basically about what's the difference between, you know, a dinner show and a traditional boxing venue. Does that have any bearing on you as a fighter or the fight itself, or how, you know, you expect to feel in there?
Well, a ring's a ring, and I know that on the day I'm gonna have to go out there and do the job regardless. So for me, no, I just go out there and do a job.
More subdued fans. It should be a little bit more quiet.
Be a little bit quieter, depending on how the fight is.
People will be drinking wine. People will be drinking wine instead of beer. I think that might be the only difference.
But nah, that doesn't bother me whatsoever.
How much have you seen of Onder Ozgul? Obviously, his brother CR Ozgul's a decent prospect as well. How much have you seen of Onder? Have you watched him live or only on tape? Or?
I've sparred him.
Oh.
Funny enough, and we've done some good rounds together. So if it's anything like the spars, everyone's in for a treat.
Yeah.
Well, not though. This is. It kind of annoyed me when you told me and you said, "Bro, I've got this fight." I was like, "Oh mate, wicked. Where is it?" You said it's on the. I'm like, for fuck's sake, they're not televised.
No.
I don't think we can apply as media. So I'm gonna have to wait for a text like an hour later. Yeah, brother, one or I don't hear from you. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a great idea, the charity events and stuff, but it's going to be slightly different. Do you have to worry about tickets? Is there anything like that? How does...
Well, there's tables, so I've sold a couple tables.
Yeah.
But no tickets.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's just so different from how you picture.
It's different, and hopefully this will bring me into bigger fights, because I'm a sort of guy that I'd fight anyone, and I want the big fights. I want to prove I'm the best, so hopefully we start getting some big fights after this on big shows.
Yeah.
Leads me on to a question from Jamie Ingleby again. Shout out Jamie. He says, Lerrone, if you were to have 4 realistic fights of your choice in 2018, who would they be and what title would you target? Money and promotional issues aside, so you might not be able to answer the whole 4, but in terms of after this fight, who would be in your sights?
My sights. That's a very, very good question.
See, the thing that when you told me about this fight, I was surprised because you'd said to me that on multiple occasions your preferred goal was to go the traditional route.
Yes.
Southern area, English, British. Obviously, opportunities like this you can't not take.
It was all tied up with the Southern area, with because I was mandatory for the Southern area.
Yeah.
And then Mackenzie was boxing Render. And so
the way boxing works, and who knows, now the English may become vacated and it could have been that, but like you say, this opportunity is now here. Does this get your top 15 ranking with the WBO?
Top 15.
Top 15.
Yeah. And I want to ask a question now, because there's been a lot of talk about WBO European shots and how Frank uses these shots and blah, 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 and I'm sure you've heard it, mate, and it's not, you know, there's no disrespect intended, but should it get you a top 15 world ranking with the WBO? In your opinion, where you are right now?
When it comes to the guys that I fought, no. But I don't think it's about the belts anymore. I think it's about the fights. People say that the IBO is not a world title, but if you got Eubanks and Gross fighting for it, then they take it a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
So it's about the fight, and I'm not fighting a guy who's had like 20 fights, lost 7. I'm boxing an undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
Someone who's hungry. And so would I say it puts me in the world for top 15 for the WBO? It's neither here or there, but I personally would say no, because obviously the position I am now, I'll be honest, but it will do. So
the only, not concerned, because I honestly believe you are one of the talents, and I don't want to blow smoke up your ass because you're here, but I've said it for a long time. My only concern with it may be, once you have this in your top 15 in the world, in an organisation, it may be slightly harder to kind of step back a little. Do you know what I mean? But when I say step back, I don't mean take steps back in your career. You don't want to do that anyway, but with maybe your level of opponent and stuff like that.
When it comes to like when it comes to my skill level, I believe that the guys I sparred with, the guys I operated with, I believe I've got world-class skills. So me getting a WBO ranking, do I think I deserve it? Yes. When it comes to my skills, absolutely.
Yeah.
Am I prepared to fight guys who will rank higher than me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm hoping this title would then propel me to a higher level, and just can't wait.
Let's go back to Jamie's question there, just because he touched on 4 fights in 2018.
Yeah.
If there was a couple, there's a couple of names, because the super middleweight division right now is kind of bubbling, even below world title or below these sort of British title levels. There's a couple of fighters who are making waves. Yourself, Darryl Williams, obviously we touched on, Craig Spider Richards.
Well, he's now light heavy.
It's Mark Heffron.
Mark Heffron's doing well. He's making waves. So, is there anybody there that you would go, do you know what? I'd love a fucking domestic tear up with these guys.
Do you know what? If the fight got offered to me for the right money with any of them, absolutely I'll take the fight.
Yeah.
I will not hesitate. I believe in my ability fully. But when it comes to the fights that I want guys who have been there, done it.
Do you know what I like? A fight for you in whatever time frame. I think you and Jamie Cox. Because Cox he's been in them with Groves. He fought for the world title, but he's been at a higher level slightly, and you're on the way up to it. I'd like that fight and a crossroads.
Jamie Cox. I'm gonna throw another one. Paul Smith.
Yeah.
You'd like to bomb Smith out there?
It's a good fight. I like it.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I've looked at him.
Smith's for all the abuse we give him, and I've given him for his fake ratings and rankings and stuff. He's only really been sparked out and by really good opponents. The girl bombed him out.
I've never really given him too much hassle, because I think he gets a lot of shit for no reason. I think a lot of the reason these guys get shit is because of the social media and stuff like that. Like Paul Smith, he turns up and he has a scrap, man, and then the Smith brothers, regardless of what you think of them, they don't mind having a fucking scrap. Liam Smith will have a war. Stephen Smith will have a war. Cam Smith goes toe to toe. I don't see why the Smiths get so much hate, but I think that's a great fight though. It's an interesting fight, because you would look now at Paul Smith probably needs a scrap.
Is he if he continues to fight?
And that wouldn't be a bad fight.
No, definitely no. But it's I'm just pissed off that I won't get to see it. That's the truth of it, man.
David Brophy out there as well.
Brophy's there.
Brophy just got beat for the
Glaswegian rascal, David Brophy.
But that British is going to become vacant now. Apparently, Rocky's.
Does it have to? Does it have to become vacant?
I don't know that. I may just be assuming that. I know Cello Render thinks it is because he said that in the post.
Then there's another guy I feel deserves the title shot would be Zach Parker.
He's good.
Yeah, I feel that if anyone deserved that British title shot now, it would be him.
He's a boy who stopped Luke Blackledge in one round.
Was that on the Smith bill, wasn't it?
Smith Scotland, yeah. Iced him, man. Zach Parker's a very talented fighter as well. Would you take that fight, Parker?
Yeah, I'll take any fight. I boxed at a high level in the amateurs, and I think.
Oh, you 9-time champion.
9-time national champion.
Wow.
And, yeah,
that's no joke.
So I boxed the best. I mean, boxed internationally, and I'm not scared of no one. I just go out there and do what I have to do. Because at the end of the day, it's my skills versus your skills. And if I'm not good enough, I'll lose. If I'm good enough, I'll win. It's as simple as that.
It's also been quite well documented, who you've sparred, and again, you can say it for both sides of the fence for your argument, whether how much sparring really means. But you know Groves and stuff. Didn't you spar Groves for the Cox fight?
I was sparring Groves, yeah.
You've been in there with Eubank and
I called
stuff.
it. I called it the same way. Everyone asked me what was going to happen. I called it. I knew that would happen.
Yeah.
I knew.
What do you think? Because I've seen a picture of you recently. You were side by side with someone else who you were sparring. I can't remember who it was offhand.
Recently, Grant Dennis.
Yes.
Is he fighting for the English against Elliot Matthews?
Oh yeah,
that's the one. You were both. You
Against
finished sparring. You were both topless, looking good.
Look at his face. Look at him.
But my point is, you look a lot bigger than him, man. And I was thinking to myself, you must be a pretty big super middleweight as well.
Yes.
How do you feel about your future in the game? Because how old are you now?
I'm 25 now.
Jeez.
I'm 25.
So, do you think obviously super middleweight is where you are just now? Do you think there's a potential you could move up in the future, or is that where you feel comfortable?
I feel comfortable at super middleweight, but I would easily, if there's a good fight at light heavy, I'd happily move up. I'm big enough.
Yeah.
What Craig Spider Richards did that was a massive. He took the British title fight with Bullioni on short notice.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not he stays at light heavy, but like you said, it can be a natural progression for guys, because nowadays, especially with a weight class where there's 7 pounds difference, it can be. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a big one. So
I think Craig looked better at light heavyweight, if I'm honest, as well.
Yeah. We seen him at super middle against the Portuguese boy, and he looked as though in that night he would have struggled to go 12.
He looked a bit drained, yeah.
And at light heavy he went 12, and he gave a good account of himself. Shout out him as well. I'd love to see you fight Craig.
I said it'd be a nightmare. Not only do I like both of them, You'd have Craig. You just mate.
Sniper.
Spiders, and that.
Yeah.
But I tell you what,
It'd be
domestically, that's a hell of a fight for me.
It's a good fight.
great fight. We'll see what happens. Are you doing a same day weigh-in? Or was it a Sunday weigh-in?
It'll be on a Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the day before.
You know, Monday night show. I'm not.
Yeah, it's different.
It's just different.
But I guess it's only different for us, right? Because you'll tailor your camp around that. For you, it's the day before weigh-in. It doesn't matter what day it is. It's the day before. You get yourself ready in accordance with that. But
Yeah.
for us, it's a bit weird to go out on a Monday night.
When you're working, and it's I suppose for you. Would you take time off work? What, the week before you, or how do
A
you?
couple of weeks before.
You take a couple of weeks off.
Take a couple of weeks off.
What do you do for work? What's your job?
Stock control for Tesco.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
You know that?
Okay. I
Still
don't
do
know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
mate.
Nice. How do you find that? Does that work well? Like early starts, late?
Early starts, yeah.
Okay.
But then obviously I'll run in the morning early. Like I'll be up at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Get to work for 6. Finish at like 3. Go home, relax for a little bit. Go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard.
Sorry, mate. How close are you to not having to do that?
Well, look. Hopefully I'll win this title and then things change. I'll get a couple more sponsors. I've got a good sponsor, FCI Currency, that helps me out a lot.
Cool.
There's Cool Solutions Limited. Might as well throw them out there now.
Go
yeah,
for
man.
it.
Yeah.
There's PT Maintenance and Targ that help me out financially. So they do a great job. Hopefully after this fight.
It's crazy to me. It shows people, maybe myself in a way, but you can be ignorant before you sort of know the ins and outs of boys and purses and stuff. You just think, boxer, he's got money. People don't see the graft that happens on the back. At this stage, people that are under 10 fights are very, very lucky if they can fight full time.
Yeah.
The amount of boys that, and you know what I mean, people like you who are signed to Frank Warren, people would just assume, he's doing, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Right. It is crazy to me, but
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it is. But I would have thought, like, a lot of people message me saying, why are you not on these big shows? And obviously you're seeing people that would say haven't achieved as much as me as amateur on the big shows. But obviously there's a time, and hopefully I'll win this title and it will come.
I think what we have to say is all the companies that sponsor you and all the companies that sponsor anybody out there to allow them to focus on this is you cannot underestimate the influence of these companies and these people that financially back people, man. They are the life and the breath of the sport. So all the companies that Lerrone mentioned and all the companies that we get guys to mention on interviews, whether it's post-fight or whether it's just general interviews, you have to check these guys out because these are the guys that believe in the sport.
Yeah.
These are the guys that believe in it. So if you sit and watch this or you sit and watch a video and the guys are mentioning companies or whatever else, if you're not going to go and check them out for whatever you need, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing boxing a disservice. These are the guys that really believe in it, so shout out to them, definitely.
100%. Ain't an easy fucking game, man. That's the one thing, since I've been doing this and speaking to the boys, some of the shit that you guys have to go through just to fight. I know guys that pay.
You know, I wouldn't change it for the world, because at least then I know when I start boxing full time, I won't take this for granted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I would understand how hard it is.
You grafted to get here, yeah. I mean, I doubt when you're the world champ, you're still going to go your shift on a Saturday night or in Tesco or whatever, but you'd have been these times, like you're right, you're thinking about your European title fight in 8 days.
Yeah.
And I've just finished my shift type. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Ricky Burns actually won his world title. He worked in a sports shop in Glasgow, which is called DW Fitness, I believe. And he was a world champion, and he would still come in and work.
Jamie McDonnell.
In the sports shop.
Is it Jamie or Gavin? Who's the world champ out of the brothers?
Jamie.
World champ, painter and decorator. You could have him around your gaff doing painting. By night, he's fighting for the world title. Crazy, mate. Boxing is a crazy game, and people don't realise that only the very, very upper echelon are fucking reeling in massive money.
Yeah.
It's a hard sport. Not only what you guys put yourselves through, but money ain't there.
Definitely. Let's move on to some questions.
We got quite a few questions that are sort of off topic. That's why we saved them for last.
What you got?
Portobello PR.
I'm ready, man.
Jordan.
Unleash me.
What a guy he is.
He's alright. Shout out Jordan all the time. Putting in work for the guys. Yeah, he's got a big fight. Miles Shinkwin, Jake Ball's a good scrap.
I like that fight, you know.
That's a great fight. He represents Miles Shinkwin, so best of luck to them.
His question is, what do small hall promoters need to do, in your opinion, to appeal to the wider public rather than just relatives and friends of the fighters on the show?
Let me jump in here and say, I don't think I don't think they are only trying to appeal to friends and relatives of the show. I think they're trying their best to do that anyway. I think guys like Steve Goodwin or Mickey Elliott or Dovebox or Carl Greaves or Steffi Bull or whoever the case may be, I don't think they're only trying to appeal to friends and family. I think they're trying their fucking best.
Maybe I threw the word in only that he didn't actually say. Rather than, so not just only, but what can they do? Because obviously you're always going to get fighters selling tickets to friends and family. What could they do? Someone that's never seen, I don't know, for example, Lerrone. How can they get the exposure on their guy if they're not related to him or fan? I think it's all PR, and I think he does a great job at it. What else can it possibly be if you don't have a television platform? How can you get the name and the exposure out there without social media?
He does a very good job, but what I'd like to say is that for anybody listening, for every one company that does a good job, there's 5 companies that do a shit job. And I'm not scared to stand here and say that. Like, if you're a boxer and you are paying money to a PR company, I would want to see tangible results. We have to see tangible growth. We have to see what is actually happening here. If I'm paying a guy 50 quid a month every single month to be my PR, what's he doing for me? Mm-hmm. And he does good work, and he doesn't get all his guys work every single month consistently, but he's got some financial sponsorships, he's got some promotional deals, he's got some clothing, he's got whatever it is, man. He's always trying to work his hardest. But for what I'd say is that the amount these boys earn, you just heard fucking Lerrone Richards fighting for a WBO European title. He works in Tesco, and fucking fair play to him, he does that. He's not got the money to start throwing £100 a month at a PR who is not going to be doing anything. And Twitter impressions they don't matter. Let me give you a fucking example, right? So we have a boy who writes for the website who had 21,000 Twitter impressions. 21,000 impressions, which means people have seen that tweet on Twitter, they've seen it on their timeline 21,000 times. How many times do you think the article was read, Lerrone?
Under 200.
Sam?
There or thereabouts.
84 times, mate.
Wow.
21,000 impressions, and it was read 84 times. So my point would be, PR guys are fucking brilliant if they're really good.
Yeah.
But they have to be good. Giving me social media stats and giving me all these things because we see it. We see it when we do. You know, if I write an article with a world champion and I promote it, it gets impressions. Does it get reads? Does it get, you know, is it something that we can focus on or we can build on? Not always. So, you know, I think exposure is a very, very tricky thing. And I don't know if Lerrone is a way that he does it or how he prefers to work. I'm not sure, but that's my point.
What do you think? Have you ever had dealings with a PR specific company who you thought they can expose me, give me more exposure?
No, I haven't, no.
Be careful.
I haven't even thought about doing it, to be honest, because I feel like it's a manager's job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is. He wanted to know about the promoters doing it, but then do promoters need to do it? So if I'm Steve Goodwin and I've got 50 fighters, is it his job? I mean, he started the Ring Talk, which is, you know, getting more numbers, and he'll bring one of his young prospects on or whatever. Is it his job specifically to bang the drum for these guys while they're still fighting at small hall level? For example, Mickey Elliott had Darryl Williams, Aaron Morgan, and Senior Byfield all knocking about on his shows. Mm-hmm. Probably didn't say a word out in public about them until they were getting to a level where they're going to fight for Frank Warren. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, when does it become in their interest to do so?
I think it depends on how many people they have under their guidance, because if you have 100 guys who are promoted by Goodwin, he is the promoter. If you look up the word promote in the dictionary, it is to give someone further exposure or to push someone onto a platform that they wouldn't have been pushed upon before. But when you start managing 100 guys, it's hard to do that. Mm-hmm. So you have to promote your show as a concept, or you promote your stable as a group. So it's hard to individually give everyone the promotion that they deserve. So then, like Lerrone said, it has to be down to a manager or a PR guy or...
Yeah.
So Steve Goodwin, I think he does, when it comes to his shows, he does a good job.
I enjoy Goodwin.
Yeah. I love it, man.
I haven't missed one this year.
I love it.
Listen,
Steve's, and that's not... I'm not having a slant at Steve. Steve's the man, but...
No, you have to be realistic. There's not enough hours in the day to promote 100 fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
You can't do it.
I guess you look at the ones that may be more potential. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But then you may not have as much potential, but you've got a massive fucking fan base because you're outspoken or your style is fan friendly, or it's getting that happy medium.
That's why I think promoters have to be involved, but they also have to be detached as well. Because if you're a promoter, what do you care about?
Money,
right? And what generates you money?
The fighters, but
ticket sales.
Ticket sales,
events. Not Twitter impressions, not what 10,000 people think about Lerrone Richards, because I think he's a very charming individual. But it's not about that. That's not what makes him money, so why does he give a fuck? It doesn't matter. And if you look at Mickey Elliott, you look at, let me just take an example, Robin Dupree.
Oh God,
right?
Yeah.
Robin Dupree fought for a Commonwealth light cruiserweight title. He fought for a Commonwealth cruiserweight title. He looks like a fucking middleweight after Christmas. Do you know what I mean? And that's
look at Lerrone's face. You've broken Lerrone. He's thinking, "Fuck, man."
But listen. I went to see Robin Dupree fight another guy months before, and I sat there, and he had his entry tune was "Rockin' Robin." I thought I was going to fucking kill myself. Rockin' Robin. You know why? Because he played it. Then his opponent came in, but his opponent had the wrong gloves on, so they had to play Rockin' Robin again. And then his opponent came in with the gloves on, but the tape was wrong, so they had to play Rockin' Robin again. I was depressed. But Rockin' Robin Dupree is a guy who was 11-0 or 12-0 before he fought a real, like any sort of real test. So, and Darryl Williams was 16-0 or 17-0.
14 when he fought for against Jermaine the first time.
Before he fought anybody of real note. Now, what does that say? Elliot Matthews. Sorry, the names keep popping up. Elliot Matthews is what? 18?
18.
19-0?
19-1.
19-1. Who's he fought?
Yeah, he struggled for fights.
And people go, alright, his career's stagnated. Oh, Elliot's not really fought anybody. Oh, I don't know the point in that. I'll tell you the point in it, because he fucking sells tickets. So if he sells tickets every one of those 18 fights, and he's fighting on a small hall promoter show, who really benefits from that? Not Elliot. Because when you look at his box rec is shit. So who benefits from that? Whoever is putting the show on. And it goes back to that for me. I have to go home, man.
I need a piss and one more beer. Yeah, final 4 questions. That Stella's stronger than I thought it was, you know. Your eyes have gone a little bit funny.
My eyes are always funny.
Right, a couple of questions from Seven Walls, Terry Chap and Dharma. What a guy.
Terry Chaps.
He said he's in Brussels at a train station, so he had time on his hands, so he sent over a shitload of questions.
I like how that's the only reason.
Yeah. You know what it is? I wouldn't
have fucking bothered, but I was in Brussels and I had a bit of spare time.
They've got no podcast this week, so he's probably just sitting there wanting some boxing. Is the Matchroom show on December the 13th, Eddie accepting the next gen concept is failing? I guess he's talking about the fact that there's now a world title fight on a Wednesday night at York Hall.
Wednesday?
Katie Taylor's fight and Shinkwin against Ball is Wednesday, December.
Oh, yeah, I like that fight.
What do you think? Because first of all, the next gen concept was supposed to be the new up and coming guys.
Yeah.
And the cards were shit because they were not. They were
so one-sided.
They're so one-sided. So I guess that took away from the event itself.
Who was headlining it? What's his name?
Bellotti headline.
headlined.
Chamberlain Camacho headlined the first one.
That was beautiful.
That was a great fight.
That was a great fight.
Were you at that?
Of course I fucking was.
Why did you not say hello?
You were Scottish. I avoid you. No, do you know what? It could be him accepting the failing at next gen because he's put a world title fight and a good. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Shinkwin and Ball.
That's a great fight.
So, and it's not called next gen now. This show.
What is it called?
And Taylor versus what's her name? You interviewed her.
I did indeed. McCaskill.
Oh.
Jessica McCaskill. Why are we assuming it's a next gen fight?
Well, they don't go to York Hall in small places unless they're doing next gen.
But why? Where is that written? Where is that set in stone?
It's not written, but I get his point. You may not. I agree with him because when do you ever see them at York Hall for a world title fight? Doesn't make sense. You do it for your up and coming guys, but you still want to go back to York Hall, take the name next gen off it, and it's a world title fight. I get his point. Is it failing? I still think we'll see next gen early next year.
I think if you're going to see next gen next year, we have to swallow and accept the fact that the previous next gens have been one-sided failings for me. To be fair, like I don't mind watching like, new up and coming guys having acid tests. If you want to have an acid test, fantastic. Like that Shinkwin Ball fight, great fight. Acid test for Jake Ball. If he comes through that, he's ready to move on to the next level. But Joe Cordina v Sevi Ballesteros, who was working on a holiday camp 2 weeks ago, there's no point in it. So I don't
Conor
mind if
Ben blowing out labourers and
exactly.
scaffolders.
But he's 4-0. He's 4-0. No one gives a fuck. So I don't mind those cards. The idea of next gen for me is cool. I understand what Terry's saying. Like next gen has not been.
I don't think it's been successful.
It's not been promotionally as key as I think they thought it would be, but that's because I think it's the leftovers. Do you know what I mean?
It packs out though, doesn't it?
Yes, busy
York,
though.
Yeah, but York Hall has an attendance of how many?
But I tell you, I went to the one in
You know what
Newcastle. I went to the one in Newcastle, and it wasn't that busy. And for me, it just seems like the leftovers. It seems like they plot out a few shows, and they go, "Bump, he should fight there. He should fight there. We can leave him off." And then whoever's left off, they go, "Fuck it, we'll make a fight with that guy. We'll do this. We'll do that." It seems like they're piecing together the guys who don't have to be on the big shows. So that card for me is already shaping up to be pretty decent. The concept doesn't display longevity for me.
And it's the last time we'll see Okoli and Chamberlain before they apparently fight in February time.
Chamberlain's going to fuck him up.
I love that fight. What do you think of that fight?
Yeah, Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Chamberlain's going to
I
smash
think it's
him
too
up.
early for Coley.
He's not got a boxing brain.
He's very wild.
He's dangerous for the first 4 rounds.
If Chamberlain gets caught with the right hand, like early doors.
Do you know what though? The size difference is massive. I saw him at that. Was it British Warriors show?
Yeah.
British Warriors show, and they came head to head, and I thought, "Fuck, Okoli's massive." But I believe in Isaac. It's ever since that night.
He's quite top heavy, isn't he, Okoli?
Yeah, he might fall over.
Yeah.
Fucking when he's tired. We don't know what he can. If he can take a dig. I don't believe Isaac is a massive puncher, but I think he's accurate and he's got longevity. He'll stay in there as he proved in the Waddy fight. So
great fight.
Good fight.
Do you reckon it's too early?
For either?
For either.
I think it's probably more so too early for Okoli. I don't think it's too early for Chamberlain because I think the Camacho fight was a good scrap. I think if you're looking at fighting someone who's heavier and taller and rangier than you, he fought Ryan Crawford, who didn't have the best record in the world, but Ryan Crawford weighed in at heavyweight. He was fucking enormous. He was 11 pounds over the weight, and Chamberlain still fought him, still got him out there. So I think if it's come early for anyone, it's come early for Okoli, but you can't discount Okoli's right hand. But I'm fucking Chamberlain all day, mate.
I'm team Chambo.
I'm Brixton all day. I'm telling you.
What else did Terry send in? Having looked at Lomachenko's training this week, why are so many British coaches in the Stone Age? Did you see the video?
No, I haven't seen it.
Fucking hell. Geezer's doing a handstand at one point from one side of the ring to the other, but jumping between his hands and his fists.
Oh.
The agility, the intensity, the unbelievable. I think these guys, I think it comes down to personalities. How many other boxers in the world are going to even attempt that? Let alone do it and fucking find it fun and make it part of their routine. You know?
But it wasn't only that. He had a... Remember when you were younger and you would go to like a... Say it was like a fucking playground or a soft play area or something like that, right? You would always have these little games that you'd pay 50p to play, right? You'd be like, "Mum, give me some fucking 50p's or whatever."
She'd swearing like, from early.
She'd be like, fuck off. That was what it was like in Glasgow. But he had this little screen that had like 16 dots on it, if you like, and lights would flash up.
Oh, like a reflex thing.
Yes. So lights would flash up, and he'd go bump, 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 and he'd be having to hit the lights for reflexes and stuff like that. We don't do that here.
I think Adam Booth's got that in his gym.
Has he?
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's the only one, because he's the kind of guy who's forward thinking, right?
Yes.
So it's the handstands and all that sort of stuff, and it's mad. It's
just different techniques that, you know, he was one of the first I saw utilise the tennis ball on a string on the back of on a cap.
Brilliant.
And Katie Taylor now does it, and you know,
Did Kovalev win?
Boxing next week. No,
Last-
Sunday. He's boxing Sunday.
is it tonight?
Is it tonight?
Not last night.
Next week Sunday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Get on Box Shack.
I thought he was fighting this week.
I thought it was last night. Yeah, I think techniques are always going to change, and yeah, you get people that are very stuck in their ways. But I think people nowadays have to be open to new techniques, and Adam Booth seems like the guy in Britain for me that stands out as the guy that will try new techniques and things like that.
Do you feel, Lerrone, as though, because a friend of mine, a guy I went to school with, who I still talk to, nice enough guy, Derek Gregg was a Scottish amateur champion, good boxer. He punched a gypsy in the mouth once, which was interesting at school, but irrelevant. He said to me, we always produce decent level fighters, right? So we produce decent level fighters. We were talking about Josh Taylor and Cal Yafai in isolation. Josh Taylor probably will never beat Terence Crawford, right? Because Terence Crawford, even though he's elite, he's very young as well. He's 26, 27 or whatever the case may be. Cal Yafai is a tremendous boxer, but will he ever beat Rung Visai? Will he ever beat Naya Nui? Will he ever beat those guys? And he said, we have a tendency in the UK to produce guys who can compete at that level, but apart from super middle, aka Lerrone Richards, we never produce guys who dominate in their weight class. Is that going back to the amateur days, do you think? Is something we need to change there?
I know what you mean, because say going back to Amir Khan, at one stage I thought that he was going to dominate the light welterweight division.
Yep.
But then he got beat by Lamont Peterson.
Yep.
So we always sort of lose at the last hurdle.
Seems like we can always be world champions.
One of our favourite sons, Ricky Hatton, when he went to the elite, he
That's
got
the thing.
badly knocked out both times.
We can be world champions, but we cannot be the one and only of that division since Lennox Lewis.
Isn't David Hay?
In Cruiser, yes.
Cruisers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned Hay. Have I mentioned this pod?
You have once already.
That's alright.
Somehow,
As long as David Hay's name is mentioned
somehow
every
you've
pod,
mentioned
I
already.
can sleep happily.
But
Yeah, no, that's a good point. He
I
did
thought that was an
dominate that.
interesting. I thought that was an interesting point. I
It is.
thought, does that hark back to the way we train amateurs? Does it hark back to what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve? Like a lot of Terry Chapman Dam and Seven Wolves will always tell you, we are taught to defend well and throw a 1-2, and that's pretty much the stable of British amateur boxing. Is, you know, we do the simple stuff very well, but we do not think outside the box. And when I'm looking at the Lomachenko stuff, I'm thinking, oh shit, they're thinking about outside the box. Whether it was the hat with a bump, punch in the bag, or whether it's that reaction thing, or whether it's walking on your hands, or, you know, it's just different stuff.
Yeah.
You just don't see it here.
Yeah, I think it could do with being a little bit more inventive. It couldn't hurt as long you try things out. You know what I mean? Try things out and see how it gets on. See how the guys enjoy it, and if they feel that it's beneficial, then keep doing it, I guess.
Rigondo said, I may not be able to walk on my hands, but I'll put my hands all over you.
I love Rigondo.
His,
Who do you reckon's going to win that fight?
well,
He's Team Rigondo for life.
Yeah, I am as well.
yeah, Rigondo, man.
I know he said it to death. He doesn't think the size will be a fact that I do. I think Lomachenko, the skills that they both have, but I think the size will play a part, and I think Lomachenko wins the fight.
I think hopefully Rigondo can do the business. I think there's a limit on how much Lomachenko can weigh on the morning of the fight, which is 138 pounds.
10 grand a pound over.
So 138 pounds is fine, but what you have to remember is Rigondo has been eating up to 130. So he's not been cutting down, he's been eating up to 130, and when you look at that, the biggest thing for me is when someone is eating up to a different weight and when they're not moving down from a weight, you have to worry about, how much cardio did you do? What cardio did you do? Because normally cardio is what you would do to bring the weight down or get yourself in condition or whatever else. And we've seen that evident in, what fight am I thinking about? There was a big fight where I thought someone is eating up to a weight, and I thought, how much? It might have been UFC, it might have been McGregor against Diaz.
Alright.
And when Conor McGregor fought Diaz, they fought at 170 pounds.
When Conor
And McGregor had previously been making 145 pounds. So when you look at that extra 25 pounds, Lerrone, what's the easiest way to cut weight or lose weight other than a sauna?
Let's go for a jog.
Right? Go for a jog.
Yeah.
Do your cardio. Make sure you can last the rounds. do your fucking running or whatever else you want to do. McGregor had £25 to play with. He didn't have to do that. And when the fight took place, first round was tremendous. Second round, he gassed. He gassed heavily. So Magonda was moving up £8, but Lomachenko can be another £8 heavier than that.
Yeah.
And I think that's
the difference.
But what do you run with then? Because obviously, if you want to lose weight, you want to put as much clothes on as you can to lose the weight.
What do you have to cut weight? Is that a thing for you?
Yeah.
You're massive for a super middle, right?
But
Yeah, I'm big. Yeah. So obviously, I might put a little black bag on or sauna suit for a little jog, a little plod. But if I don't want to if I don't have to lose that much weight, then I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lose as much, am I?
I think it's just going to be I think Rigondeaux had to take this fight because he, 36 years old or 37 years old. He needed a big fight, and if he wins, great. If he doesn't, at least he had the big fight that he's been pining for, because he's been kind of a hidden gem in a way. It meant he fought Jazza fucking Dickens.
The Cubans are always hard done by.
Always.
I will fight the Cubans cause until I die. Cuban boxing is tremendous, but you're right, mate. He's always been searching for an opponent. He's been searching for something that's worthwhile and will create him a legacy, and he hasn't had it. So
no one wants to fight him, do they?
That's the thing.
Why take the risk when there's no reward?
And the thing is, people go, he's been put down, he's been this, he's been that. Try and beat him.
Yeah.
Try and beat him. Do you know what I mean? You can't. You beat a prime Donaire. Yeah. Beat a prime Nonito Donaire, and he done it pretty comfortably, to be fair. So, interesting fight. I'll be there in New York once again. If anyone's there, buy me a beer. I'll be there. If any attractive Latino women are there, just buy me a beer. Same.
Last question for me. Also, Terry, Seven Wolves. When do you think the boxing bubble will burst, and what event will trigger it? I mean, I don't know has the product become saturated with the amount of shows that are going on around the country, I guess is what he's alluding to. What do you think, Lerrone?
I'll give this one to Craig,
because he's just going off on one.
I think we have to look at how shows are formatted now. So December 2nd is a prime example. So I spoke to Lee Eaton earlier on today. Shout out Lee Eaton, what a fucking guy. I love him.
Love that.
He's told me he got a picture with Canelo, but he'd much rather get a picture with me. I said from the eyebrows up, it would be the same. So we have to look at how shows are formatted. And on December 2nd, for example, you have an MTK show, jam-packed with talent.
David Price is on it.
Jam-packed with names, right? David Price is on it. But you also have a Goodwin show as well, jam-packed with guys trying to make their way. Shout out Anesu Twala every single day. Bobby Woods, Daly Perales, all these guys. You know, these guys are on the same show. And for me, although we always talk about the more boxing the better, and I agree with that to an extent. But it's interesting for me, if Lerrone was fighting in this dinner show in Mayfair, and it was on Saturday the 2nd of December, and it was a dinner show, and you have a show at MTK Essex or London or whatever it's called, and you have a show at Goodwin at York Hall,
and that Leicester Cyclone card is
and the Leicester that's the same day,
2nd
right?
of December,
2nd of December, Leicester card for Cyclone Promotions. How does that impact you as a fighter? Like, it's very interesting. I know, like, you try and get ticket sellers on the card, you try and get excitement generated on the card, and you promo as much as you can promo, but if you're splitting a boxing audience 4 ways, those guys that would have went to a show in Leicester, they'll go to a show in Leicester. They might have also travelled to a show in London if there was no show in Leicester.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those 200 people that were supporting Chantel Cameron, they might have come all the way down to London, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours, or whatever it is. So you are diluting your audience, and I hope it's not a case that we over dilute so that people lose interest in boxing, because the sport itself it's a beautiful sport, and there's no end to the twists and turns that take place in boxing, but the amount of fights and the amount of events and the amount of promoters and the amount of this and that, it makes it hard, man. It does make it hard.
Listen, we're media, and we're lucky we get to go to 95% of shows in this country.
I love every single one.
But there's even a time where I'm going, I've got to have a week off.
I fucking hate Duff Box. I hate Duff Box. It's shite.
Oh, he's had too many Stellas.
It's shit. No Stellas. It's shite, but I think he's done. He's a good guy. Shite show. I'm just saying. Underdogs go
the main
for
events, really, isn't it?
Yeah. This shows himself a
for the up and coming prospects. He does a good job. But then there's no sort of main event.
It was a long.
What was
day.
the main event last time?
Gorman Akinladi was there.
No, that wasn't.
That wasn't the last.
That
was in April.
I went to that one. That was a decent card. The one in Crystal Palace, that was alright. The one I went to in York Hall where Under Osgood fought last, Lerrone, was maybe second last in my list of lifetime activities. Like below
getting circumcised,
getting dumped off a really hot bub. Now it was awful, but that's not a slant on Tommy. Tommy's got money and he's got to do what he's got to do, but that's irrelevant. I want to know, how does Lerrone feel about fighting on the same night? For example, if there was four cards at the same time, how does that affect you and affect your fan base?
Me as a person, and what do you mean the performance?
Not your performance, because you're a professional, right? Your performance will be the same. So in terms of your ticket sales and your exposure and all that sort of stuff.
If I'm on a sort of dinner show, then it doesn't affect me as much because I don't need to sell as much tickets. If I'm boxing in an arena show, it would affect it because there's some people who want to travel to this show. If I'm boxing on a small card, and then you got Joshua and Klitschko fighting, no one's gonna come watch my fight. Everyone wants to go watch Joshua. You know what I mean? So it's gonna definitely affect my sales. Not only that, like if you win a title and then you're boxing the same night as Joshua, on Twitter it's gonna say, oh yeah, and the new champion Lerrone Richards, but then it's going to be filled with Joshua, so you're just going to get washed out. No one's going to pay any attention to you, so that's how it would affect my fan base because no one would really see it.
Do you think the more that because naturally as boxing is becoming a bigger thing and it's becoming more fashionable and more popular, and it's on Channel 5, it's on ITV, it's on Sky Sports, it's on BT or whatever else, is there a danger that the identity of the fighter becomes lost? So let's look at O'Hara Davis, for example. He has carved out an identity as a bad guy. He's this bad guy, he talks shit, he
plays
does
it
this,
well.
does that,
plays it well,
but he does it on Sky Sports. So is there a chance that that identity becomes watered down because of the amount of stations or promotions that are involved in boxing?
No, because then it'll come down to who stands out, don't it? And say, using O'Hara Davis as an example, he stands out. Josh Taylor's on Channel 5, but then a lot of people are still talking more about what O'Hara Davis does.
Right. Yeah.
So it's all on the individual.
Definitely. I think boxing needs more characters, and I think
That's what
I agree with you, Lerrone. The characters will shine through whether he's fighting on small halls, because eventually he won't be at small halls if he's enough people talking about him. So, no, I agree. I'm out of questions, by the way. I'm done. Are you done?
I got two.
Let's go.
UK Boxing Fans 6. We are still here. Are you still listening?
I fucking hope so.
I hope so. He gave us 5 quick fire questions. Very exciting.
Jeez, this is new.
Number 1. Who is your UK Fighter of the Year 2017?
Let Lerrone win his title and then we'll talk, you know what I mean?
Lerrone, UK Fighter of the Year for you, mate.
I'm gonna go with it's joint. I've got 2.
Go on, go
Give
for
me
them
the
both.
2. Give me the 2.
Alright, I'm gonna go with I'll go with Lee Selby, one
Yep.
time.
Okay.
And I'll go with Terry Flanagan.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I'm
Stuck to the flag warrants.
it's simple.
Sam?
George Groves. He finally got his world title. He then entered the World Boxing Super Series and smashed out Jamie Cox. George Groves. Did he fight? No, he fought in November last year. So yeah, his 2 fights this year. He won his world title in May and then beat Jamie Cox.
I would say Groves a good shout. Probably have to agree with Groves.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Nice.
I was going to say something else, but I'll save it because it's another question.
They say Joshua, don't they? But
He beat
I don't
Klitschko
really-
in a great fight.
You can't really argue with the Klitschko fight. It was a great fight.
Great fight.
Takam fight wasn't a bad fight, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, but
do you not think that, say, Terry Flanagan doesn't get the respect that he did? Like,
who's he
I
fought this
blame
year?
him.
Lerrone?
I blame him.
Who's he fought this year?
yeah.
Who did he fight this year? Verdejo?
No, I didn't fight him. No,
No?
I didn't fight him.
There you go.
Number 2,
Yeah.
promoter of the year, Lerrone. Lerrone, who's your promoter of the year, mate? Fight one?
Do you know what? Promoter of the year. Have you heard of a promoter called Frank Hunt?
Frank.
Frank, good old Frank Hearn.
You know
Yeah.
Frank Hunt?
Me personally, is far and away Mick Hennessy. No doubt that YouTube was a massive sensation. Huey Fury, Joseph Parker was seen by billions of people around the world.
That was seen by 6,000 what?
Mick Hennessy.
6,000 people.
Mick Hennessy, no doubt.
For me, I'm going to give an honest answer to this. It's Mickey Elliott. It's not Mickey Elliott.
Oh, Jesus.
My promoter of the year is Steve Goodwin.
Steve Goodwin, all day.
I'm being genuinely 100% serious. I think Steve Goodwin, the big guys can always do the big fights, right? That's my thing. The big guys can always produce the big fights because they got TV stations, they got money, they got the big names, they got the boxers, they got the opponents, they got connections, they got everything else. For Steve has put on some of the best nights in UK boxing.
This year, definitely.
Undeniable. That Cello Render Leon McKenzie fight was it was the best thing I've ever experienced live.
Mm-hmm.
It was unreal.
100%.
Everyone says that.
It was
100%.
unreal, man.
It
Were you
was-
there?
No, I wasn't there.
It was. Do you know what it was? It was beautiful brutality. Both men who it meant so much to them. This is the Southern Area title.
It was unreal.
It was amazing.
It was like a Rocky film, and that's no joke. And I know Leon touched on that. He was talking to Cello the other day, and he said, "Wait till you see the clips because it looks like something at a Rocky fight." And I'm not surprised by that because I was there with some friends, and my girlfriend, God bless her, she was there, and she's not a massive boxing fan, but she was like, "What the fuck?" It was just a crazy fight, and she kind of fell in love with the whole night because of that. So the thing that Steve does, and the thing that no one else really does, small hall wise, is they really invest in the whole promotion, man. But you see, Steve's got them big screens at his side.
Yeah.
Guys are walking in. Listen, you could be walking in for your first fight. Me or Sam could go to the gym for 6 months, get a license, and walk in for our first
I
fight.
might do it, you know.
And if we walk, don't do it. And if we walk in for our first fight on a Goodwin show,
You feel good.
we feel that's the thing.
Yeah.
We feel
It was such a good idea. When he done that, the idea was just.
We feel that's
Yeah.
the thing, and he spoke about it recently. Like, he puts a lot of money into it, but the end result is these guys feel like they're professional boxers, and it's a different vibe.
I agree.
And when you look at the small hall scene, for me, he is far and away the best. He's the best.
I would agree with that.
100%.
So that's my promoter of the year. The next category, selected by UK boxing promoter, UK boxing fan. Fight of the year.
Cello Render, Leon McKenzie.
Easy.
I didn't see
Zero doubt. You will, and you'll be like, fuck.
Easy.
It's not a fight you want to be involved in, let's put it that way, because if you're a fighter, that's got to take fucking time off your career, innit?
It was insane.
Seriously.
Beautiful
I saw it
fight.
on someone was doing it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Live, but I saw it was a war, but I didn't think
You
it
got,
was-
I suppose, yeah.
I think you got to be there.
And you
so-
felt it as well. You felt both supporters, like both.
It was crazy, man.
Unbelievable. What
We
about
were
you?
standing
What's-
upstairs like,
I watched it. I
will
watched it
shout.
touching the ring, man. And
You
the
were
ring,
there. You
Oh.
were ringside, and I went to go meet my girlfriend and my friends up high in York Hall so we could watch
The
it from
balconies.
down. And we were literally jumping about like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was nuts, man.
Insane. What about you? What's the
Absolutely
best you've seen this year, Lerrone?
What live?
Yeah,
It'd have to be Daryl.
Daryl and Jermaine, number
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, number one.
Number
yeah.
one.
Good fight.
Good
It
fight.
was a good fight.
Ringside for that. Yeah.
Was that the last fight before he left your camp?
Yeah, the last
The
one.
prick. That's why.
I lifted him up as well.
Number 4, penultimate question from UK Boxing Fan 6. Young Fighter of the Year. Daryl?
Daryl's not young, is he?
Daryl's, he's pretty young, though.
26, 27?
That's pretty young.
Darryl Williams, 26.
You have to give Burnett that.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Go on.
Josh Taylor,
What's young? How old? 23, 24?
25.
What are we calling young anymore? Because in boxing,
Say under 20.
what about Daniel Dubois if we're talking young?
It's not a bad show.
Depends what you're looking for and depends what's the cut off. I'll tell you what, we'll go with 23 because when I used to play Football Manager, you could only win Young Player of the Season up to the age of 23.
Javonte Davis.
Javonte Davis. Yeah.
You a fan of Javonte Davis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's good. I watched him when he boxed. Is it Walsh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on undercard of that.
Battered him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Pedraza.
Pedraza. That was when he was wearing like the Cookie Monster on his trunks.
Beat Pedraza up, man. For me, Josh Taylor is 26 or 25, but he's the young prospect of the year.
He's good for years.
Because of what he'll do and because of how he dealt with his previous tests. I think next year he wins a world title. No drama. Literally no drama. I think he batters Lipinets right now. He batters Broner right now.
Oh yeah.
And I like Broner.
I like him, bro.
Listen, man. Josh Taylor's a special.
But do you know when Broner turns up, he turns up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I actually put money on Broner beating Garcia.
You're an idiot, mate. Mikey's
Yeah,
the truth. What? You lot are wrong.
I'll be honest.
Nah, this changes everything, man. How can you not bet against Mikey? Mikey's the truth. I love that guy.
Well,
he does everything right, doesn't he?
Yeah. And he's tricky, man. Broner's tricky guy. Last one from UK Boxing Fan 6 is number 5. Biggest disappointment of the year. Sam?
It's just, it's obvious, isn't it? I feel like this is a personal dig at me.
What's your biggest disappointment?
I think I cried when David Hayes' Achilles popped.
The
second the Achilles popped,
you were fucking
the tears came down instantly. He's had one fight this year and it was just... Listen, who's seen Bambi's mum get killed? That's how it felt to me, man. I'm still not over that. Yeah, David
That was
Hay.
a bad one.
David Hay, definitely.
Lerrone?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Same?
I was saying to everyone, Hayes gonna win.
I wasn't. I don't know if you...
Yeah.
If you guys
Move on.
remember.
Go on, who's yours?
I called Bell, you win.
He did. He also said Klitschko beat Joshua, but we don't keep bringing that up, do we, son?
He was technically winning that fight. My biggest disappointment was... Tough one. I'd probably say... Ricky Burns
And Dongo battered him, got beat
getting
by
beat
Crawler.
off in Dongo was my biggest disappointment because I thought Ndongo was overrated. I wasn't, I've seen him do that Troyanovsky with that big left hook and in Russia, but you can never really be sure, right? Anyone can get caught with a big shot, so I wasn't really entirely sure. But the way that he schooled Ricky Burns, who for me he's been a fucking legend, and I've got a lot of respect for Ricky Burns. Ndongo schooled him, absolutely schooled him.
Yeah.
He just stayed at range. He couldn't get involved in a fight, and that was massively disappointing for me because I thought to myself, as well as a defeat, it might be the end of an era. So I was a bit disappointed.
There's some great questions in there. So
Oh,
Craig's throwing Stella around my house.
it's all went
We
wrong.
need to get him out of here, but there's some good questions. So
One more.
final question. Go on,
Hold on.
let's go. Is it
I'm bringing it up.
big Rob Martin?
It's the big one. Do you want to set it up?
I can't remember it, to be honest.
Rob Martin. Rob Martin is the probably Brixton Boxing's biggest stalwart.
I thought he was the mayor of Brixton because
I've
he
treated
buys
him
a
like the
ticket
mayor.
of every single boxer out of Miguel's. Literally.
Every
Richard
fighter.
Riakporhe, John Harding Jr., Congo,
Every fighter.
Chamber. Every single fighter, he buys a ticket, goes to every show, bangs the drum for every one of them. The guy is Brixton through and through, man.
And I tell you what, we met him at a few shows and he's fucking spot on. I actually met him in the street. I met him in the street with my missus and
He's top bloke.
he's a fantastic guy. But he asked, hold on, I've got it here. Let me just bring it up. He said, considering you've only been in the game for 10 months, how far do you think Fight Talk can go? It's weird having a question about yourself.
I know.
How far do you think Fight Talk can go? Prospect, contender, world champion, or journeyman? Cheeky bastard. What will you class as the pinnacle? And are you looking to sponsor more talent? Sam, I'll let you run because you're the boss man.
I am the boss, man. I started this shit by accident. Listen, the website has been phenomenal. A writer like yourself, when he's not down in Stella, is a massive. I think you're one of the best writers in boxing. That's the truth of it. Don't want to blow your fucking ego up any further, but listen, we just take it where it takes us. We were never supposed to sponsor Nessie Tawala. We sat there. Everyone's heard the story. We sat ringside, watched his debut. He was wearing shop bought trunks, and we believe he's a special talent. Let's try and give him a little bit of help. I don't have the money to sponsor any more fighters. This shit cost me money to do this shit, as you boys did as well. Your train fare, Lerrone's come all the way down. The petrol weren't free. People that help us get involved and help, it costs money. That's the truth of it. So while we're sitting here, we got to go work in the morning. You're doing an interview between things. It's constant because we love this shit, but who knows how far it will go. Listen, one day, imagine us being able to say this was our full-time job. It's a million miles away, but it's got to be the ultimate dream. I go to work every single night. You go to work every single day. We do this shit because we love it. I don't think it'll be any further than that. I don't imagine there'll be much more apart from keep trying to put out good content on the site, but that's enough for me.
You know what? The biggest thing for me is that less than a year ago, what are we on now? What date is it? The 19th of November.
Alright.
So I've been doing stuff with Fight Talk for 9 months. Only 9 months, which is fucking mad. And I got asked to do stuff with loads of different other websites like World Boxing Wall. Good shout out to them, man. God bless them. Other guys go, come and do this article, come and write this article. Would you fancy doing this? And I said, no, because I didn't want to be on a time scale or responding to someone or producing work that I didn't really want to produce. It wasn't really my thing because I work full time, same as Sam. Fucking Lerrone puts the work in as well. I didn't want to have to be feeling like I was held hostage to a schedule. So me and Sam started linking up early December. We never really done much until January 2017 this year. The website never really got launched until the start of April. Now think about that in context. So what we're on now, we're in November, so let's talk about 7 months. And when you look about 7 months and how much we've done in 7 months and the continuation of quality that we've done in 7 months, I do not believe it's rivaled. I don't, and that's not, I'm not being arrogant, but I don't believe it's rivaled. If we look at our website, and I can show you the stats, we've had over 35,000 visitors to the website in 7 months from nothing at all. No money, no backing, nothing else. Just a pure passion for the sport, and that's, for me, that's enough. I'm a bank manager, so I'm in a kind of weird position where I love writing. I interview world champions and whatever else, and I do Rigondo, I do Wilder, I do whatever else, but there's never money in it for me that's gonna really compete with my day job. But I'll still be up till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, writing whatever I have to write or doing whatever I have to do because I love it. So that's the biggest thing for me. And guys like Rob Martin, Rob Cass, Paul Altai, Jamie Ingleby, Martin, Terry, all these guys, man, that's you guys feeding back and giving the feedback and providing the love and the support and that. That's all I really care about, man.
100%.
There's never no money in it. So
when I started this, I never imagined I'd be able to hand out whoopings on FIFA to the future WBO European. You know what I mean? It's a crazy journey that we've been on, and
but it's good. We'll and if you look at like prospect, contender, journeyman, blah, 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 I'm not a journeyman, Rob. Come on, man. But listen, I guess we're probably going to be the eternal prospects.
Yeah,
and that's all right because there's no major money behind it the way there is IFL. Respect to IFL, they're hustling every single day, and they were the first ones to do it. But if you look now at the content that we put out every single week, I can tell you right now, I've got 3 world champions lined up for the next week. I had 3 world champions last week. And if you look at the content compared to other websites, we must be up there. We must be up there. So, as long as you're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. I'm half drunk most of the time. So, and the Lerrone's kicking it, so it's all good.
That's it. Lerrone, anything else to add? Anything else you know?
No, it's been great. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Mate, thank you boys for coming all the way down. Just so you don't know, when you're on your long hour and a half journey home, I'm going to be tucking into a curry that my wife is currently making.
Enjoy that.
No more Stellas for you though.
My wife is Sri Lankan, so we're all good.
It's been the Fight Talk podcast.